What's up, Will?
What's up, man? Oh, I had to get some food before I started, so I got in there a little late.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Aquí nomás, señor. How are you?
Doing well. Funny how Paul's chain dropped. I see a lot of people on there switching for different tokens and they're screwing themselves through burns. And plus, the allocation might be different later on when it actually has a dollar value. So I think a lot of people might be doing the wrong thing or making the wrong moves.
I don't know if I did right or not, but actually I went and got like most of my coins, like the USDC and USDT that I had, and I just traded them for Post Chain and Post X because I figured USDC they're probably gonna invalidate all those coins if they have the keys. They cannot afford to have free money on their, like since they're basically accountable for those coins.
Yeah, I'll post a video on it later. A guy was showing a lot of people were moving into Pulse X, and he thinks the allocation because the allocation changes based on how many people are in each pool, right? So they kind of jacked up the pool of regular Pulse. We'll get started in just a second.
Are you bullish on Pulse Chain, Pulse X?
I am, basically starting at zero, has to go up from here.
So is Hex? I guess forget about it. No, no more Hex.
No, it'll be on both chains. It'll be basically hex from ETH, and on both chains it's gonna be called regular hex or something like that.
I see. So two coins to invest in.
Basically, two different coins, yeah. As far
Right.
as I understood how that whole concept goes.
Yeah. The next Hex.
Mine, mine still, I think it still has like 7 more years worth of before I can stake it. So I'm screwed when it comes to that.
Ah.
So I don't really care about the price right now.
Well, no, here's the thing, Bernardo. Actually, I think a lot of people are jumping the gun and dumping Hex, and I think that's the wrong decision. You know how that guy is. He'll make Hex more valuable when its value drops to the floor, some way somehow in the ecosystem. So I think where Hex is sitting, like it's an opportune time to take positions. Possibly it might even go a little bit lower. You never know, but like I think it's time to look at Hex, especially with the big dump that happened yesterday. A lot of these things, what they do is they dump, and then you'll see that thing just rebound and just start flipping back up because he'll come out tomorrow and be like, well, you got to have this much Hex to be allocated to this and that and everything. And then, everybody will jump right back in. That's typically how it goes. I don't think Hex is a dead project at all.
The ERC X.
You said what?
You said you don't think Hex is dead. That's the ERC Hex?
So you got to understand the process of the chains. So Pulse chain is basically a mirror image of whatever exists on ETH. It's not two products necessarily. What it is it's a mirrored image, right? So you can use that whatever product you have on the ETH side and interact with it and everything else on the Pulse side, but it still exists on both sides. It just doesn't show you that in the wallet. And so what happens is like whatever you have on the ETH side basically gets locked, and then whatever you have on the Pulse side you can navigate around, and you can utilize that on the Pulse side. But if you sell or anything like that on the Pulse side, it sells both sides. So it's not really necessarily two products as much as it is just a mirrored image of what exists on the other side with significantly less trading fees, right? So what I'm thinking from a bigger perspective of what Kevin Hart has created here. Hold on 1 second. What he's created here is he's created an ecosystem where all the liquidity plays on his side of the chain, and he just gives you significantly less trading fees, right? That's basically all it is. So it's like a liquidity pool sitting on top of ETH, more or less, from a Pulse chain perspective. It's not really necessarily. It's almost like a layer 2, in a sense, I would say. And he may not come out and say that, but I think that's kind of the direction that he's gone.
So if we were to buy Hex right now, buying either one on either ecosystem is pretty much the same thing?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Same value, same denomination, same value, all that stuff. It doesn't matter which side. And that's basically what he states. Like, you can even move your meme coins over to his side. All you're doing is you're just giving the Pulse side the liquidity, and Pulse is providing you with their version of whatever that is that you can buy and sell it, trade it, and everything else. Essentially, you're giving them your liquidity, and then if you were to go and sell, say, on their side, they'll give you the money. They'll just sell it on the other side. That's basically what's happening.
Okay, cool. Thanks. I wasn't sure about that.
It's a tricky process that a lot of people aren't quite understanding yet, but I kind of figured it out from the beginning.
So is that a DEX that he just launched? Looks like one.
Yeah, but all of that is on one ecosystem. It's on his ecosystem.
Okay.
So you could still buy the old Hex. No difference.
And you can buy and sell on either side. Doesn't matter.
Oh, sick. Thanks, man.
So there's no other coin. It's just this one Pulse. I thought there were two coins: Pulse X, Pulse Chain. No.
Yeah, there are.
Pulse.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two new coins.
Don't go jumping the gun to flip into them, though.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are, and they're messing up the pools.
A lot of people burned their Hex. I should have gotten some Pulse X. I didn't check, but I've seen that a lot of people burn like over 3.2 billion. Is that burn? Does that mean they just
burn is from them transacting?
Okay, that's all that is. Whether they bought Pulse Chain, them buying Pulse Chain or any other token.
So you could switch for another token, which a lot of people are doing, and that's what's causing the burn. You can also provide liquidity and liquidity pools that'll provide burn. There's a lot of different ways that provide burn.
Got it. Any transaction.
Yeah, pretty much. And what a lot of people are doing is they're selling their Pulse for Pulse X. So which one's burning?
You mean Pulse Chain for Pulse X?
Yeah, the one you received.
I didn't check. I should have received the Pulse X. I haven't checked yet.
No, I believe everybody received Pulse Chain, right?
Yeah, no, you received both the Pulse Chain and the Pulse X that you sacrifice for both.
Mm-hmm. And when you switch one for the other, the side that you're switching is the one that burns, right? A lot of people flipped into Pulse X, and Pulse Chain is the one that's burning because they're flipping into Pulse X. Does that make sense?
Yes, but it looks like Pulse Chain is worth more though. From what I've seen like a snippet. The Pulse Chain is like 1 to 3.
Yeah, and well, think of it like this: which one's being used for gas?
Chain, I would guess.
Yeah, it's Chain being used for gas. What has more value on Ethereum network? The Ethereum, right? So you want to keep the whatever you're using for gas. That's going to hold the most value, in my opinion, in that ecosystem.
So if I had Pulse X, you would recommend trading?
I wouldn't recommend anything. I'm just telling you how I would look at it, right? So the thing is that if you got X amount of this one and X amount of that one, I would just stick with both of them and not swap anything. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
A lot of people are switching for one or the other, and they're creating an imbalance in the denominations. So when the cash value comes out, that could get screwed. that denomination doesn't mean anything right now. And that's what a lot of people are understanding. When the cash value comes out, that denomination could completely change.
So there's no actual cash value for either of me.
There's no cash value for anything in the ecosystem right now. If you go over there, dollar says 0.
Oh shit.
That's exactly why when you can't buy it right now. If there were cash value, you could buy.
Senor Will?
Yeah.
So, but what about like what I did is I got like all those, like for example the UFO thing. I bought a little bit of that one, like was like $600. I had from before, and then I got the free copy and I exchanged it, and I got like $500,000 post chain.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't realize too, the dollar denomination on the Pulse side could be significantly different than what it would be on the E side, right? So. And he stated this before, and I think just so many people forgot that he stated it. So, like on the E side, for instance, it could be $50 per whatever, right? On the Pulse chain side, or we'll say you have 100. We'll say you have 100 Ethereum on the E side. On the Pulse chain side, you may have 1,000 E, and that's just because the dollar denomination is different. So it may look like you have a lot more, but actually, technically, in dollar value, you have less, or you have the same in dollar value, but you haven't really gained anything. There's nothing gained there. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, he did say like even though like he was giving 1-to-1, like 1 ETH for one post, it's so diluted that it wouldn't make a difference. That none of the whale will be able to make any difference at all.
Yeah. The dollar denomination would really be the factor there. Give me 1 second, guys. I just gotta close my door real quick in 1 second.
What's up, guys?
So
Basically, if you guys read the website, the bridge pie won't be out for a couple of days.
Do you like Hex, Will? Is that a long term for you?
I like the ecosystem. I like the setup.
Bitcoin setup.
The problem is like if you go in and look at the top wallets,
yeah,
like you're talking about people that will be at 100x, they'll be billionaires.
Billionaires?
So, billionaires from millionaires.
Oh.
So you have to consider liquidity, thought process, all that stuff. There's a couple people in here too, in this project, that basically sold the bottom of Hex after they made major profits at the top. And they'll probably end up paper handing pretty quickly going into this project. So that's why I'm kind of cautious. I would say if Pulse goes up, because I doubt you're going to catch the entry bottom, I'd probably let it drop 70% before I take a buy on it.
So you're saying
Hex?
On Pulse chain. Anything on Pulse chain. So here's the bridge. You can see right here it says testnet. It's not up and running yet. You can't utilize it. I have a wallet attached. You could put in like whatever coin you wanted, for instance, and you could just add custom. But nothing's operational yet. This is all just a testnet feature. So you can't buy, you can't swap, basically. There's no availability. Website looks pretty cool, right? Got a lot going on here. A lot of validators, all that stuff like that. All your stuff's up here. API. There's your sacrifice checker, Pulse Bridge, Pulse. They got a scanner on here too. Validator. Pulse Chain Mainnet. This is your test net. And then tokens, all PLS, and then your chains or whatever. Yeah, I like it from a long-term perspective. I think he'll make something from it. I just don't know about right now.
You're saying
I want to see who fumbles their bag first.
You're saying wait for the dust to settle, buy it maybe in a few months from now when it's
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of FOMO, and it'll allow a lot of these bigger wallets to create exit liquidity.
Yeah.
There are some massive wallets. I think the top 100, like they only got to do roughly a 50 or 100x, and they'll be billionaires. There was a guy who sacrificed $14 million. Somebody who sacrificed $14 million.
So hopefully sell the pump.
I mean, how much do they need to make before they sell? You think they need 100x? Does anybody think they need 100x?
Not at all.
Probably.
Think about that. It's
probably just 5x.
Yeah. There could be a lot of different ways they play that because they see all those other wallets that are sitting there beside them too, right? And they don't want to be the last one out. So there could definitely be a scenario
because they sacrifice the most.
Yeah. When you're talking about people that have thrown in that much money, this thing's going to get crushed. 100% it's going to get crushed. We'll see at the end of the day if they can keep the momentum going for a while. But like, I mean, long term, I'm very optimistic, right? I think like next cycle, Pulse, they do it right. They set everything up right. They have, like, you look at the code, you look at the blockchain that they've created and everything like that. Like, they had the potential to be just as good as Ethereum. So if they can get the attention and everything they need to make that happen, we could very well see them, price up just like Ethereum did. Because, Ethereum got crushed in its first cycle, and that's what I think will happen with Pulse Chain. I think Pulse Chain will get destroyed in its first cycle. After it gets a blow off top, obviously. And then, going into that second cycle, I think that will be some real opportunity to pick up some Pulse and go with it. But we'll see how that works out. Boy, did I have yeah, you can't buy it right now either, guys. Just so you guys know. I know we're talking a lot about Pulse Chain because it's a big thing for a lot of people. A lot of people invested and sacrificed into it. But like, I mean, I won't be staying in it. I'm just going to probably sell it pretty close to, the ramp up position. And then it goes 100x. Hey, great. It's whatever. I don't care. I'd rather be safe than sorry when you look at the wallet sizes. Yep. Hopium doesn't get you profit at the end of the day, guys. It just doesn't. Optimism doesn't get you profit. Reality is what gets you profit. It gets you to where you don't sell or you don't fumble the bag back down to the floor. We'll say.
Yeah. Wait, correct me if I'm wrong. Pulse is a layer 1, right?
I mean, kind of. It's kind of like its own blockchain if you look at it from a bigger perspective. Essentially, what it is you can move anything over there, right?
Yeah.
So basically what they're giving you on Pulse and Reality, and this is why, like, if Richard Hart were nefarious, I'd be a little bit cautious, but is they're giving you like a synthetic token or your current token. Does that make sense to everybody?
Like you can't do anything with it until you can trade it.
It has to come out of their ecosystem before you can do anything with it.
You mean like buying gold versus buying Pax gold crypto? Is like a synthetic or no?
Yes. So buying gold is physical. You own it. You have it. You can get it anytime. Buying Pax gold is buying the note of gold, essentially, right? The price of gold. You're not really buying gold. This is why you have to bridge to their net, right? You have to bridge because they're essentially taking your liquidity from your side, locking it and holding it there. And if you sell on their side, they'll give you the liquidity and then they'll just sell on the other side. Bridges can be a little bit dangerous, though. I will tell you guys that. The reason bridges can be dangerous is because, if you get a bridge hack, you're going to have problems. You're going to have real problems.
Yeah.
What does a bridge do? It bridges two assets together. What was the highest hacked thing basically all of 2021 and 2022 and still 2023? It's bridges, right? Where does all the liquidity exist when you bridge? It exists on the bridge. Does anybody understand that? So you have 2 points, right? You have point A and you have point B. This is where the liquidity actually lives. The liquidity actually lives here. And then over here is your synthetic token. When you bridge it, now that liquidity can be locked from here. So this locks that liquidity right there, right? And then they give you a synthetic version over here. Synthetic is fake, for those of you who don't know. So it's their own version. This is why they don't name any of the tokens the same. They name them P whatever or H whatever they're using for the synthetic version, right? They put an asterisk in front of it.
A fake version.
So this is essentially a fake version, just like what FTX did on the front side, right? FTX gave a bunch of people tokens, pretty much sold everybody's tokens into liquidity, and then gave you guys a bunch of what you made it look like they had actual tokens. Except over here, this is all being bridged here. So what this does here is this locks the liquidity, right? Now, typically, a hacker doesn't go for here. A hacker doesn't go for here because this is fake. The hacker goes for here. That's where hackers go. They go to the bridge because the bridge is the easy exploitable position to take when you're trying to take liquidity from one side or the other. Well, you can't take liquidity from here. Why? Because it doesn't exist here, right? The liquidity exists here, but you're locking it through this contract. So while you're locking it here, what hackers do is they go into the bridge and they basically exploit the bridge. So instead of just locking it, because once you have the ability to lock liquidity on one side, you have access to that liquidity. At that point, they set it up so the bridge will actually withdraw liquidity and pull it through that bridge. And that's how the hackers get the liquidity out. So that's why you got to be careful with bridges, although I'm optimistic about what all they got going on over there. And that's why over here, you can have ETH, right? And over here, you'll have Pulse ETH. Because Pulse ETH is a synthetic version of actual Ethereum, a fake version.
It's the same price.
Pulse ETH, well, here's the thing. Here's the kicker. Pulse ETH over here could be worth $2,000, right? Pulse ETH over here could be worth $200. And then you're just getting a higher denomination. You have one over here, you have two, you have basically over here, you have 10, right? Not
you
2.
mean it's the same price in dollars, but they make it a different price.
Yeah, they make it a different denomination. This is what he explained basically, if people paid attention to what he was talking about. So the denomination over here could be technically different dollar value because the denomination is different. But if you were to send this back over to here, it would still be valued at this.
It's like euros and dollars, like just a different currency.
Yeah.
But it's the same value in dollars. And
it's the same amount. Yeah. So this is kind of how the Pulse chain ecosystem works. So I just want you guys to understand this from a higher level. If I'm wrong, then we'll see, right? But from what I understand it, this is how it would work. This is why when you go on the website for Pulse Chain here, how do you get assets from one side to the other? You technically don't. That's what a lot of people don't get. You technically do not get assets from one side to the other. What you are doing is you are bridging assets, right? So you're basically the asset itself exists on both sides. It's just taken into their bridge contract and locked until you decide whether you want to bring it back and or you want to operate with their side. So this is why you have to come in and bridge. It's the same thing with, like, we'll say, let me think, Polygon, right? How do you get liquidity over to Polygon? You have to bridge it.
You have to buy Polygon.
You have to buy Polygon to use their network, but you have to bridge it. That's how it gets over there. Does anybody remember working on Polygon in the early days? It was only bridging until other centralized networks added their network to their infrastructure. So you were able to take the Polygon network and send directly from centralized exchanges, CEXs. These are all bridge related. They're not, if they're a bridge, are they layer one?
Layer two.
They're layer two, right?
So are you bullish on Arbitrum and Optimism?
I am an Arbitrum for what it brings in a TVL, right? A couple different factors there, but it's a different scenario with what I'm looking at from Arbitrum.
Yeah. Good long-term investment or no?
It's a good bull market. When you say long-term, I mean, feel that you're talking about like really long-term.
No. I'm thinking, whenever I say long-term, I'm saying the next bull run. I guess for me, that's
when the bull run comes, everything gets sold. I'm just telling you guys that flat out. Everything gets sold.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean I have to sell initially. I work my way out of my positions, but I like to be nearly out by the time the thing starts tumbling over.
You would sell all your positions when Bitcoin's hit its peak at 50K in May or in November?
No, not necessarily, because
not for all of them, but for most of them, that's how it is.
No. Like, what happened after Bitcoin hit its peak?
In November.
Yeah, what happened?
Alts had a bull run.
Alts had a bull run. You got to wait for that bull run to come first. Let alts decide to downfall the market.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, give me just a second. Sorry, guys. I probably should just did backspace, really, to be honest with you. Yeah, so Bitcoin as a whole came down, hit my price zone, bounced back up into its value area, right? So came down, smacked my price. So I want you guys to understand my TP here, something I discussed, was around basically 2,800. I believe we hit like 27.99 or something like that. So I got TP'd here. Doesn't look like it on higher, but on lower time frames, as you take it down, you'll see where it dipped into that zone. So I got TP'd here.
Sorry, what's TP?
Take profit.
Okay.
So my position pretty much is almost out completely. I have 30% remaining on my short. But that was my take profit zone right there. So take profit there. I was expecting a bounce back up to roughly about 27.6, 27.7, somewhere in that zone. Because I'm expecting liquidity to try and swing back up. I am in a long from here. So I'm expecting liquidity to push back up to here, right? If it doesn't, it will come back down. It will smash and pretty much kill my long position, which is currently, I think 24.5 is where I'm sitting at for my long as my stop. So your stop's basically, it's not your liquidation price. It's where you put your stop price. It's like where you stop out your price. So my stop is in here, 24.5. And if it hits that, I'm fine. Because that 30% that I left remaining running here will basically make up the difference on what I've lost on my position here. Because I only took a 20% of my last allocation short and used that to long here. So expectations are to swing high up here, kind of hold this position. Now, the thing that a lot of people are missing is that even though that could be the case, still lower highs, right? They could even swing all the way back up here to 29 and it's still not bullish. We are continuing to reject to the downside. So we got to just find that footing. But this is the local liquidity area right here. And you can see because you're getting a lot of candles playing in the zone, right? This was where it played last time, right down to the low. So this was the low end of the range, swung up, made a higher low, made people think that price was going to take off, right? And then swung down right here with lower highs. Now they did trick a lot of people right here, right? Because they got a little bit of a higher high here, right? You can't be looking at price like that. You got to just look at it as it is. There was no real breakout here. There is a slight violation of the high, but they swiped basically to hit resistance and reject it, right? And that was the expectation here. They just building higher lows here too fast, right? Too fast. This is better. Why? Because you had more time to build out the move. So this is good. But when you're continuing to struggle to where you have to keep making higher lows at shorter time frames, you're going to start breaking to the downside. So a swing high, drop down, and now we're looking to probably fake a lot of shorts out here because there's probably a lot of shorts in here, right? A lot of people shorted the bottom of this, not paying attention to the general direction of the market, right? General direction of the market, here's your low. So a lot of people are shorting here. Where are they shorting? They're technically shorting basically the bottom of the move. I was expecting a reversal that would move and not touch this zone and swing high to take out those shorts before they came down, right? So that's the expectations here. So I'm looking to capitalize basically in both directions. This is a shorter term play. For the long, I'll leave a runner. I'll be 50% out here. I'll be probably at least 3x my position that I have in. I'll take two-thirds of that position out. That means I'll get out with my whole initial plus profit, and I'll let the rest run just in case they want to run this a little higher, right? I want to take more profit if that happens. So I'll be in a good position here. If they hit that, then hit my stop. I haven't lost anything. I'm in the green. I even come out with a good portion of the bag that comes back and hits my stop. I'm okay with that. All right, so nothing too crazy here. Just drop down, swing high, swing low. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting price to look like it's very bearish, only to reverse back up, right? The reason for that is that we talked about this many times. Nothing has changed. This is why, I got some of you guys asked me, like, I thought you said down. I thought this and that. 1 impulse, 2 impulse. What is this one?
The last one.
3rd impulse, the last one. All right, that's the expectations for the move.
When you say impulse, you're talking about a bounce back up quick?
Fast move, yeah. Look,
Fast move.
boom, boom, right?
Yeah.
So you get the big move, consolidation, drop. Big move,
right.
Consolidation, drop, right?
Yeah.
Big move, consolidation,
drop.
A into a B into a C, get wrecked.
Mm-hmm. Or you don't think it's more likely to bounce impulse than to break that line?
What, this?
The trend line,
this?
Yeah, that one, yeah.
Yeah, I for sure think it is, because it's not just that we've done a 5-way count here. It's not just that. It's also, if you look at it from a bigger perspective, we're in a bear flag. This is a bear flag.
Oh, yeah.
Price is contained in between 2 different sides. It can't get out of it. And you come up here, you start rejecting hard, and this is going to be a great shorting opportunity, right?
At 32K?
Basically all the way up here, probably at 36, 37, somewhere in there. That's where I'll be taking positions. I'll have stops up here, because if they push up above that, then I'm going to get killed. But I doubt that's going to happen.
Right. This is the last big pump before altcoins are dead, and it's the dead of the market.
Well, if you guys look at it too, these moves have moved in quarters, right? Quarters. What do I mean by quarters?
Every 3 months.
3 months, 3 months, 3 months. And what happens at the end of the year?
Christmas. everyone's.
I mean, we can ixnay Christmas. What do people do at the end of the year?
Aren't they
Sell
buying a
off.
lot of stuff?
Tax harvest.
Why do they sell off? Tax loss harvesting. Exactly. We'll get a tax loss harvesting sell off, which will create the downfall, right? And then people will get super bearish here. They'll expect prices to probably go a lot lower, which they always can. They always can, right?
Yeah.
But I think like once that tax loss harvest sell-off starts to occur, you should start looking at positions on charts. A lot of altcoins will probably be at lower lows. A lot
Lower than the
lower lows,
Yeah.
as in lower price than where they've been. Bitcoin can remain steady. If Bitcoin's going to remain strong, I expect it to hold here at 20,000, right? Our initial pump into our pullback, into our takeoff. This is basically just a move to come back to balance the liquidity that got dumped into the market, right? There's always a rebalance to the move. So rebalance move, back in, equalize the entire move. And then if they want to get super bold, they'll then roll out and start rolling back into the halving, right? If they want to go further, they'll do a 5-wave countdown, which would be something like this, right? And it'll probably end up going all the way back down to the previous low, double bottom, right? So something like down here. So my 3 would be here, 4 would probably be here, and my 5 would be here. That would be a 5-wave count. So if they want a 5-wave countdown, this would be the expectation. If they want an ABC, which is the expectation typically after a good impulse wave move, then they'll be somewhere around here, around that 20,000, 21,000 price. I think they'll bring it all the way back down to where they took off from. All the liquidity will be equalized here. And some of you are like, well, what about this liquidity here? This doesn't matter. This is basically an imbalance. Look at it. If you were to take a line straight across, this is an imbalance move, right? If you were to take a line straight across up here, this is an imbalance move. But that's the way a lot of people are looking at it too, is they're thinking that this imbalance right here could mean this breaks here, right? And it could, but I'm expecting a 3 impulse move high because these impulses were strong. If that were the case, this would be an A into a B into a C high, and then you would get a wave countdown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way back down to the lows. If not lower, right? So if this is an ABC, you'll get a wave countdown. If it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse, like I'm thinking it is, then you'll get an ABC down. That's the expectation here. So you guys know the move that you're looking for with this. I think most altcoins will be at lower lows. We're already seeing a lot of structural issues with a lot of altcoins. A lot of them have already started trying to recover the lows. You got uptrend breaks on most of these. Full uptrend break right there, right? Double top stop, exactly right here, right below liquidity. And now they're starting to wheel back down, right? I mean, ADA, been talking about that price for a while. Could very easily come back down and just roll straight into that lower low. Boom, just like that. Now, it's not going to be an elevator down. It will be something where people continue to buy the dip, right? Continue to buy the dip and then settles. That would be the expectation for some move like that. So you can see right here, we rejected. So this right here wouldn't even be relevant to upside. I think there's a good chance we're going to get better opportunities on alts. Really good chance. You can see it on total too. Meta here looks like crap. I think it's kind of stopped out here. You got a couple different trends here on Meta, which I was expecting to come up and hit this trend, this resistance, and this trend, right? So trend and resistance. Trend can act as resistance, but trend and resistance are two different things. Trend, right, where prices keeps coming back to retest, coming back to retest, broke, right? Broke down really hard, hit support, hit liquidity, shook back up, hit resistance, hit trend, and now where does it have to go? Nowhere. It has to pull back. A lot of these are going to get pretty big pullbacks. I think Meta could roll back into 161. If it doesn't roll back to 161, it could very well roll back to 127, but I don't think we'll come back to here. At least not yet. At least not yet. I got to see the economy degrade more, right? That's what I'm really looking for. I'm not trying to predict black swans. I'm just trying to pay attention to what's going on as it happens. Long downtrend breakout, right? Big move up. They're kind of hovering at this high here, and that was the expectation. I took basically this price down to this high, and that's where they've been. They've been trapped here. A lot of people are expecting a higher high or a all-time high retest. I don't know. We'll see. I think that, NVIDIA has kind of fully priced in. There's nowhere is really for it to go, right? And you can see here, I've got a couple different scenarios here. Bullish structure would be a stop down to 188, 189, and that's basically higher low and a move out, right? That would be a bullish structure. That's still significantly lower than where we are in price. A bearish structure would be basically almost a full-on retest of the low. That would then create a W formation and then into a breakout move, right? To where they start to struggle to get back up there again. So that would be the other scenario with NVIDIA. SPY on a bigger scenario here, if you look at it, SPY looks bad. I won't lie. Like, SPY looks really bad. So we got a breakdown move here, played between played basically in the channel, broke out of the channel, but now we're getting kind of a tightening move to the upside. So an ascending wedge. So expectations are they roll down, roll up, move down, look like they want to pull up a little bit, and then break this thing and come back and retrace to, somewhere around 39.60, possibly even come all the way back down and retest this 3,800. Although it has been double tested right here, so I don't want to ignore that. So bullish structure could be here or here, but expectations here are what? Well, even if they break down to here, it's still a higher low, right? That's why when people get upset when you point this stuff out, it's like, this isn't doom and gloom scenario, but it's going to be a nasty pullback if this does end up playing out, and then we could probably see a higher high from there. Last time SPY, and this is one thing I want to point out, a lot of people seem to just want to ignore this, like it doesn't exist. But right over here, this was the SPY move, and it's basically, as you can see here, our high. Now look here to where? Our high to our last takeoff position, right? Our support here. So support here to our high. And you see here, SPY pretty much broke down, acted like it was going to go for the golden pocket, reversed off the 0.5, 0.5 being the strongest position in the chart, right? So a lot of institutions may have not gotten in here. So they may have gotten upset. So what happens? SPY takes off, does what? Double tops. And so just climb. And then what does it do? What zone is this? Anybody?
Golden pocket.
Golden pocket. Look at that. Rolls right into it, touches right to the bottom of the golden pocket before it subsequently takes off again. 10-year span. That's all it is. That's all it is, right? We could very easily end up in one of these situations. And this is one thing I'm going to keep pounding the drum on. Takes a long time to play out. But, if you're buying entries like, oh, it's long-term position, you bought up here, you could end up in a much worse situation before you end up better financially. I'm not trying to scare you guys not to take positions, because I think there's opportunity right now. I think there's potential to move into basically the bull market into 2024. It could be bad, could be really bad for indices, but I think crypto itself will still do its bull market, its traditional bull market, and I think it will start dumping towards the end of 2024 and become extremely bad going into 2025. Well, everybody's screaming super cycle, right? That's all. I'm pretty sure that's all I'm going to hear from all the new investors. Super cycle. So breakout, breakdown, breakout. Expectations are, probably a 6 trillion market, something like that, 7 trillion this year, just so you guys know. Something I talked about before in crypto.
What do you say?
If we look here, Gray areas are accumulation. Red areas are bear markets. Green areas are bull markets, right? Bull markets typically don't last as long as our zones where we should be accumulating, right? So over here they did. So this is kind of your accumulation right here. Really, you could, I guess you could kind of dial this back to something more like this. This was actually kind of a short bear market in a sense. We can even pull that back to there, really. And all this right here is pretty much accumulation going into the bull right here, top of the bull. And then you get your long ended bear market into your long accumulation into your bull again, right? Peak bull over here. Let's pull that back just a little bit. Pull this over just a little bit. Peak bull into a long bear market, into a long accumulation. See that? You can buy anywhere's in here. You're up. Now we move back into, again, bull market, into a double bull market right here, into a long bear, into a accumulation. So you just got to look at it from a bigger, broader perspective. Stop looking at it from like necessarily log if that hurts your, if that makes it too difficult for you to be like, oh, I got to get in, I got to get in. Look at this from a non-log perspective, right? Each market gets significantly bigger. You're basically ramped up really hard and it looks like it wants to come back. And if we follow trend, I want you guys to understand, if we follow trend, and I'm not advocating for this yet because I haven't got any proof that that's going to play out. But if we follow trend here, we could roll right into this before rolling out. So that could very well be a scenario too. Again, I would say if you guys are looking at projects, like you got to stop looking at dyno coins. And what I mean by dyno coins is the same coins that roll every single cycle that everybody says is great, like Link and Litecoin. And like, if you want to make real money, look at new stuff, right? It doesn't mean like look at ultra speculative stuff like Arbitrum, for instance, right? Like, I'm not trying to tell you guys about Arbitrum, but I'm just saying it's a new project, new layer one. It'll get a lot of hype because it's new.
Right.
That's what you want to look for. That's
like
what you guys want to do the best of it. Like what?
Caspa's another one.
I mean, Caspa can, right?
Yeah.
Caspa can.
Sui
Sui Swap.
SUI. It's like rank 60.
Yeah, I think I've seen Sui. Like, isn't that like a yield or something like that?
It's a later one.
Well, Woo Network's been around.
Yeah,
Woo Network came out in 2021. It's already had its hype.
I think the idea is you want to invest in new projects, but what about like Polkadot or Cardano?
I think DOT is because DOT hasn't launched yet, right?
So DOT, you're really bullish on the things that are being built on DOT?
Well, no. What I'm looking at is like DOT itself.
Yeah,
could pull a Cardano once it launches.
Meaning like better than the last bull run, it does higher.
Yeah, like Cardano did 90 billion this 2021, right?
Right,
and that was because it was up and running.
Right. It went to $1 and it went to $1 in 2018, and then it went to $3 in 2021.
Yeah. So
Polkadot could pull that off where it goes to 100 maybe the next bull run.
Could. I'm bullish on DOT just because it hasn't launched. It's the only reason why.
Right. And then the other like projects like Kusama or GLMR on DOT.
I mean, sure, GLMR is not really showing a lot of glimpse of life, to be honest with you.
But isn't it like a new project?
Kind of, sort of.
Like it came out like right after.
I mean, it came out in 2021 and it's pretty much just rolled the floor, but not really seeing a lot of interest in it. I'll do some digging into it. It's 97.37% down right now.
Yeah. And then I guess like the last question, Kusama, what are you bullish on that one?
I mean, you could buy it if you want. Kusama will probably do some numbers. It's a test net though.
Test net.
That's like I hear Kusama a lot because it pumped up last cycle. It's like it's a test net. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I'm big myself on launch pads. I think all launch pads are good. I think launch pads do numbers. You just got to get the right ones. That's all it is.
Like Dow Maker's a good one.
Yeah.
And Paid Network is pretty cheap right now.
Yeah, paid network's extremely cheap.
15
if it does well, could do bad, right? Could do half of what it did. I'm okay with that. Still good numbers.
It's like 100x if it does is half as good.
Yeah. Looking at the Russell. Here's the Russell. Doesn't look too good. Tell you that. Looks like a drop, consolidation into a wannabe build long into another drop. Russell looks really disgusting. Like, I know it's probably hard to see because my chart, but these are too live. Right there. So I'm not too optimistic about Russell, which is kind of make me kind of not so optimistic about a lot of things. Ascending wedge again here on the NASDAQ, starting to tighten, right? We either got to break out hard or this is going to smack this high and get wrecked. Not too optimistic on a lot of things here. If you look at something like look at Dash. Remember everybody was hyping up Dash? Where's it at now?
It's in like rank 300, 200.
No, where's it at on the chart?
Oh, yeah. It's down.
It's at its bottom again. That's where it's at.
Price discovery.
Yeah, it's like this is not something that like if Bitcoin goes deeper, where do you think Dash goes?
Way deeper.
Yeah, it's gonna break this floor.
Yeah,
it's gonna break that floor, and it's gonna be bad.
When a coin breaks its floor, when it's in price discovery, no matter which coin it is, that's a very bad thing.
I mean, no, not necessarily. I'm not trying to put it like that. What I'm trying to say here is like that Dash just all the coins I think are going to do this. I think all altcoins are going to do this because I think Bitcoin's going deeper, right? And I'll show you some other stuff to kind of give you a little more confidence on what I'm talking about here. But here TLT, everybody's super bullish TLT.
Stuck.
I called this as it was sitting right here and told people broke trend, it's dead. So you got this long build. You look like you're going to go up. What do? You break your structure to the below. Then you come up and what are you doing here? What are you doing right here? Anybody?
Retesting.
You're retesting. And now what's it doing? It's falling back from that retest.
Falling back. Yeah.
So expectations are that the build long has now turned into a build short. And this is going to start going the other direction.
So now that it broke that diagonal trend, it's going to retest that diagonal. It'll go back up and retest it and then go down.
It already did.
No, the diagonal trend.
Yeah, it already tested it right here.
Yeah.
It broke below, opened here, came back up, hit it, and now it's going to start rolling sideways more likely and then start losing momentum.
All in the same candle, it broke and retested.
Well, no, it broke here and opened here.
Oh, okay.
And then retested here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would never consider the same candle because then you would say this right here, oh, it broke. We're going to go down and what it do? It reverse back up.
Yeah.
Right? So, because the body is here and not above the trend line, it's bad, basically.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I got to sneeze. Give me a second. I think I'm good, actually. All right. So expectations are this thing will more than likely start doing this. Now, where's it going? Right back to the low. Now, what is it going to do from here?
Test the bottom.
What's it going to do from there?
Hopefully bounce off support.
Hopefully bounce off support. And what happens if it gets up to here?
Top resistance.
What kind of shape is this?
A W.
A W, right?
Right.
So basically they stop out here reverse, and a lot of people's going to look for the price to go here, and it's going to keep going, and then it's going to pop up here, and then people are already going to catch it until it's already up here. So expectations are potentially this thing starts building momentum once it breaks back up. So this is why the key to paying attention to markets is, okay? The key. Rejection. When you are catching those rejections, keep an eye on the chart and look for the break of structure, because you could take this all the way down on a put, and then you could take it all the way back up on a call. It's not hard. And really, I caught this right at the high here. So I'm expecting this thing to start probably try to range. Now, keep in mind, what date is this?
End of the year?
August of 23, right? And then we got September, October. So it could be here. It could be over here, right? It could be October. Maybe they draw it out a little more, but expectations are it's going to be somewhere around the same amount of time as this. So we look at this as from a monthly standpoint. The consolidation that played here took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months before it started to drop, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What month is that? November, right? So if I were to put in a put here, what should my date be?
November.
Should be November. Yes, it's less profits, but it's the more likely scenario. A lot of people do not consider consolidation. They just look at it like, oh, this thing looks like it's going to tank. No, these can play for a while before they end up reaching their destination, especially in TLT stocks, stuff like that. All right, so moving into Qs. We got the drop down here, pull back up, drop down here, pull back up, resist, drop down. You start to do some weird stuff here. You start to hold position, right? So if we look at this from a bigger perspective, why do I have a line here? What do you see going on here?
Bear flag.
Flag, yeah.
What do you see going on there?
W.
W formation. Where's the high of the W? So where should I expect price to go from here? Is that bearish?
No. It's going to go down.
It's going to go down, but it's not bearish, at least structure wise, right? It's bearish in the short term because it is going to go down.
The higher low.
In the bigger term, it's going to be more bullish, right? Because you got to understand what they're building here. They're building structure, right? They're building structure. It's just everybody always ignores structure. Look, I caught the structure from here. And nobody's going to catch this. Watch. Boom, 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 boom. Maybe one more. Maybe they break out there.
So you're someone who tries to predict new structures. Most traders will try to understand what structures exist.
Yes, most people are spectating here while I'm spectating on a bigger scenario. I'm looking at where price has come from, where it's continued to hold, and where I think it will go back to in both directions. So for me, would I be buying Qs up here? No, I would not be buying Qs up here. Why? Because I'm expecting Qs to come back down.
Yeah.
Regardless of how long that takes. So Qs come back down to where? Do you guys see this little tiny retest over here? where price shifted away, that's where I'm expecting it to come back down to. Because if you start getting down into here, you're going to get below here, and people are going to think it's over.
What is a QQQ, by the way?
Basically, technology stocks.
It's all
which
of them.
Is what everybody's betting on.
Oh, okay. Like
the problem with the technology play, yeah, we'll look at Lucid too. The problem with the technology play is that low caps and mid caps are completely getting neglected. So if these bigger players are all in on technology, what are they doing? What are they treating technology as? I would say they're trading as safety. And they're all concentrated in the same stocks. So if all the liquidity that wants to be in this market, wants to be in the high risk market, if all of it's in there, right? Now I do want you guys to understand too, I'm bearish on a lot of things, macro, but I'm still following structure. Me bringing up this thesis doesn't mean this can't play either. Right? But we can't entertain that until it happens. That's just how this works. Like I can't, as much as I want to, economically and macro wise, I can't entertain that until that happens. Now, all these guys are concentrated in the same stocks with probably all the liquidity that they want to apply to risk and non-risk. So where do they get the money to buy the low caps and mid caps that they feel more risky? Anybody?
From the higher market cap coins or blue chips.
From where they've been putting their liquidity the whole time. So if they're going to take liquidity from here to get into low cap, mid caps, what's that going to do to price of these bigger stocks?
It's going to come down.
They're going to come down. That's what's going to cascade these rejections / retraces at these highs is once we start to see them take that profit and rotate capital, which is why I'm buying low cats and mid cats, because they're ignoring them on purpose, right? Everybody's eyes are on, oh, look at the Qs. Oh, look at the SPY. Oh, look at NVIDIA. I got to buy that. Oh, look at Facebook. That's where everybody's eyes are. Where should they be? They should be where everybody else's eyes aren't. Go ahead, Gus.
I was gonna say, looking at the QQQ, would you say that that's almost at a like ideal setup for a put?
Yeah. I would just
go back down to that trend that you got there, that bottom trend line.
I would say that. Because here's the conversation I had with Max the other day, because he's like, I'm gonna wait for Qs to hit here first. I was like, what is everybody gonna do if they just scalp the high here and don't come up to retest the resistance? Right? A lot of people ignore that. Like they could very easily, this could be the top, right? Forming a lower high and then pulling price back. And then what would they do from there to trick everybody again? They'd form a higher low. And then they would come up and retest again. And if they didn't want to break out, what would they do again? They'd form a lower high. But if they did want to break out, what would they do? They'd form a higher high on a higher low, and then boom, swing through. The game is all about momentum. When you start to hesitate, right, you start to roll. When you start to roll, bigger players come in to catch later. If they want the momentum to stay bullish, this will be the play. Longer dated. And if you look here, this is going into 2023, right? A swoop into a swoop. Nobody sees it coming. And if you look here,
you're thinking like at the end of the next quarter, it'll start making this move up.
I think the end of Q4. A lot of these will start making their move up. If you look here, October, November, right? The zone we want to watch, the low zone, it's going to be in here. That's where liquidity is going to kind of chill. Liquidity is going to come down. It's going to swing into here. And then a lot of people are going to get scared to take entries, right? Then they'll swoop this thing back up, break out of this right here. I can almost bet you, and I'll keep this here, guys, for you, just so we can track this. But I can almost bet you this right here will be the zone where there'll be accumulation. This is the accumulation zone right here. And it's also the high of the entire move, right? So you catch the accumulation zone high, and it's also where you got rejected over here and lots of other areas, but this is your accumulation zone high. And then once they accumulate through here, get back above this, people start to become bullish again. They push, they push, they push. They get up to here, maybe. Now, here's the thing. Here's the tricky part where they catch people right here, right? If they test with a higher high, I can almost bet you this will be the play. They'll test with a higher high, pull back, people will be looking for trend, and they'll shoot through. And their pullback will come to here. Boom. A lot of people get played on these moves because they're not paying attention. This is exactly why I scalped out Bitcoin at 25.8. I was like, this is the liquidity zone where they're going to be looking. I'm like, everybody's looking for 24, 22, 20. That's going to come later. That's not right now. They just need to hold inside that bear flag for that last impulse. And that's what they're doing. They're not going to sweep the liquidity on the low end of that. They're going to shift away before people get a chance to get in. Because that's how you trap liquidity. Whenever you shift away from a trend before you hit the trend and you come up and you retest the high end of the trend, more than likely you're going to come back again. And that's what a lot of people miss, because your trend is going to stay static due to that, right? You're going to be trapped liquidity. But as far as Qs go, like I would say Qs look bullish, right? Because if you look at this from a bigger perspective, you got your teacup. How does the teacup work? You roll in, right? This is the top of your cup right here. You roll into, you pour your liquid in, your liquid builds to the high end of the teacup. And over here's your spout, right? And that's where you pour out. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for liquidity to reverse off of this move. Now, the tricky part is, do we run into a scenario, and I think we do, with the 2 and the 10, where this market comes back again, right? And I think a lot of people are not going to see that one coming. So again, we talked about it with SPY, where it did that double bottom and it did a lower low. We could very easily do that with Qs. We could very easily on a bigger time frame, right? Just look at how liquidity is swishing, boom, into a boom, and the rejection could be right in here, right? Rejection right in here, lower low. Oh, hold up. Didn't mean to put that there. Something like that, right? Let me put that back down. So that would be a tricky situation where a lot of people would get faked out, right? And a lot of people would get bought in here on the breakout, and they would end up getting played on the move on your high end. That, from a bigger scale, is a what? What is that? It's a W, right? It's a W. So that would be a tricky spot. Another place that they could do that is here. I want you to keep that in mind too. I do not want to be ignorant on the move here and tell you guys, hey, we're only going to break out. I've already seen this, and I showed you this on the TLT, where they basically had the same pattern. And what did they do on TLT? They got near the end of TLT and then started breaking down, right? And if they do that, my expectations are that we will not get a lower low, right? You need more momentum to create more momentum. If you stop out here, you're more than likely either going to revisit the low or you're going to form a higher low, right? You need that momentum to go deeper. If you don't get the momentum, you will not go deeper. So expectations are here. If they reject here or anywhere along this current resistance, expectations are this will take a little while to play out, but they will probably play to this high, right? Play to somewhere in this high. So it'll be between here and potentially up here. So I'll give you kind of a liquidity zone to look for. Somewhere's in here. They'll bounce off this liquidity right here. And then they'll move out with a W. Now that W will have more momentum because you got a higher low, right? And this is why people have to always zoom out when they're looking at these things and understand, like, hey, on a bigger scale, you've got W's inside of W's, right? And M's inside of M's. And this is the bigger play, or this is the bigger play, right? The deflection here would be disgusting. It would be absolutely ridiculous. A lot of people would not see it coming, and this would be the biggest fake out. It would be talked about forever in history, where they got priced all the way back up here only to take it. Like, the economy has got to be crushed for this to happen. But if you feel we got a strong economy, you're a big time bull, you feel like things are bullish, like this would be the play I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for the rejection here at some point. And I don't think it'll occur here. I think it's going to come back down to sweep liquidity one more time. And then we just start dumping from there going into 2024. And 2024 will be bearish if that happens, right? 2024 will not be a good year if this ends up playing out. Because if you look here, this goes to December of 2024, and this is almost the same amount of time they've played over here by the time that ends. 2023 will end somewhere in here, right at the high, and then 2024 will be another freaking down year, which will suck. And then price will reverse at a higher low. Everybody will be looking for a lower low. They'll be looking for price to reject way down here. It's not going to happen if you can't get the momentum. If you can't get the momentum, I'm thinking like a higher low. If you can't go to get the momentum, okay, again, this is also playing into 2024. If they are all the way up here by 2024, guess what? We're going deep. We're going deep. A lot of people's going to be like, oh, all-time high. We're going to break out. Economy's good. Everything's fine. No. The 2 and the 10 are showing that that's not going to be the case. And we basically, once that uninversion happens, you got like 1 year to play before markets are going to take a down, really hard downfall. If you look here, this is my expectation with the low cap, so 3, it's minus ETH, minus BTC. So you've only got the altcoins that are neither one of those two. So if you look at price here, it's up into a down, into a partial up, into a down, and to an up, and I'm expecting us to come down one more time. That's pretty deep. That's pretty deep, 248, right? 248 price. And then I'm expecting this thing probably to come up here, hit this liquidity right here, right? This is going to be your big zone where a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to go deeper, guys. And then they're going to reverse off of the falling wedge. This is a bullish structure for those of you who don't know, by the way. This is why I'm kind of very optimistic on alts, very optimistic on crypto in general, because a bullish structure like this, it's not something you see normally. It looks really good. And I'm expecting a big breakout for alts. Honestly, like, I think alts could do some numbers. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think altcoin market could be well into $1 to $2 trillion, I think, going into the next cycle. Which, from a liquidity standpoint, if you're in the right sectors, it will be amazing. Do you know what's funny about this test zone? Where's this test zone line up with?
The top of last time.
Top of last market. It's crazy, right? And this is why I'm saying you guys will probably get more optimal pricing on altcoins, and they'll probably be at lower lows. Because if liquidity comes to here, the top of last cycle, that means we have less liquidity in the entire altcoin market than we had over here. Okay. So what does that mean? If this was the bottom previously and we're here now, what does that mean about your local favorite altcoin?
Cheaper prices.
It means it's definitely going to be at lower lows.
At the floor.
Yeah.
It means
A
you're
lot of
buying
these are gonna get
highs.
smacked.
Does this include? Oh, okay, never mind.
It includes everything except for ETH and BTC.
So yeah, the
everything.
ETH. If you included ETH, it'd be different. Yeah.
Yeah. This does not include ETH. This only includes everything but ETH and Bitcoin.
I guess
That would be
total.
the total cap, right? That would be,
Yep.
be everything.
Everything, Arbitrum, Polkadot,
Chainlink.
Polygon, Chainlink, everything's in there. Shitcoins, everything.
From all 20,000 coins.
Yep. Now, the only ones I would say that would be kind of help hold the strength here would be, no problem, Erica, no problem. The only ones I would say that would be kind of that could help hold strength, and this is what has helped hold ETH up, is shitcoins, right? Because they're denominated in what typically? Ethereum. So that'll help hold the price up on Ethereum, and that's why I took altcoins by themselves minus Ethereum. Yeah, basically anything and everything in the market other than Bitcoin and Ethereum. That includes stablecoins, yes. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I wouldn't say that the stablecoins necessarily will be part of this dropping. Their liquidity may drop, but like they'll still be stable. I guess is really what I'm trying to say. The price won't drop necessarily, but their liquidity could definitely drop. Yeah, but their liquidity dropping as opposed to sell-offs and other, I guess they could kind of go hand in hand. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because that would mean that you'd see a double exiting. You'd see that liquidity flowing into dollars versus stable.
So really,
you said what?
Any project that existed in the last bull run, it's probably not a good project to invest in. You want to find new projects.
Yeah.
Maybe the exception is some layer ones. Maybe the top ones like Polkadot. Cardano.
Yeah, I would say DOT only because it hasn't launched. That's the thing that we got to understand here, right? Is DOT has not launched, so it makes sense.
What do you mean by launched? Can you explain that?
They're not fully operational yet.
So Cardano wasn't fully operational until 2021?
Yeah, correct. And the second that they were like, all right, our testnet, everything's good, we're operational, I think blew up to 90 billion.
90 billion?
Market cap.
Because it went to what, like 55, something like that last time?
Well, it held stable, and that's what a lot of these layers ones do when they're not fully operational, is they hold stable, right around that 50 billion cap. So expectations are there. We can see that. I think the way Arbitrum's holding strength, there's a good opportunity there for same thing, 50 billion cap. And if you're looking at 1.4 billion cap right now, potential, by the time that market drops down to even be at 1 billion, you're looking at like an easy 50x, maybe 40 if you want to play safe.
So Polkadot is, these altcoins, they have way more to go down. Polkadot could go to maybe $3 or $2.
Good. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I wouldn't expect any particular project. Just let the total play how it plays, and then when the total gets to the position to where you want to start taking entries, then at that point you start looking at your favorite coin and see where it's at, right? Yeah. I would say don't be scared. Like you guys got to stop being scared to touch red. Like I think it's a great there's great opportunities out there to touch red. But I would tell you this, like if price total cap for altcoins continues to drop, if we close here, which we have 18 days to do so, if we close here, total will probably come down pretty far. I would just start looking at body candles on the monthly and start taking DCA positions based on that, right? So my favorite coins, I have $1,000 to allocate. I would start, maybe 300 here, 300 here, and then 400 here, right? Just because you don't want price to shift away. You don't want price to shift away from you. You want to take this down because why? Because the majority of the move has already played, right? So although, yes, you will eat drawdown for sure. It just take positions as they come. Like this is compounding, right? In a smart way. And I'm giving you the higher number, right? So I said 3, 3, 4. Notice how I said that? You're getting the higher number at the most optimal price. But if price shifts away before you get that optimal price, don't chase it with that 400. Take that 400, put in something else.
So the floor from December for most altcoins, because that was the floor I was looking at for a while. Maybe that's not the real floor. You could look at it going lower than that for most of them.
Well, you see Dash. Dash is at the floor. Where's it going to go?
It might probably go lower if we go down more.
Yeah. It'll probably go lower than the floor.
So the coins that are at their floor, some of them are at their floor now, like VLX, Velas, it went down, pretty down, 50% down from its floor.
Yep. And
I don't know if is that a bad thing? Red flag for you? Warning? Maybe Velas is not good anymore.
No, I think the project's still solid. I have some money in it already. Like again, at this point, like if it's too much for you to look at drawdown, just don't.
Yeah.
Like you want to scoop this market, right? And you want to catch it at optimal time. I think we're getting to that optimal time. Like I said, so like this could play out over here and then retest the low all the way over here. And yeah, I took buys through here and I just took drawdown right here. It sucked. But guess what? Yeah. I still got my position in here. I didn't start buying here or buying up here.
Right. Velas, even though it went down, for example, you're still bullish on it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the projects I've mentioned or talked about, they're all solid projects. They have good teams behind them, and they're good as far as marketing and everything else.
Yeah, same thing with the Kadena. It went down, I think, below its floor from December. I think it's like at 75 cents. I remember you saying it's a good project.
Yeah, Kadena is a good project. Yeah, I think it'll do it. I like proof of work. So
yeah.
So with total, like I said, all coins potential to come down deeper. Total over here, I mean, basically all in all, yeah, I think the inverse HNS was a play, but I kind of got invalidated here. I'm not even going to BS, right? How did I get invalidated? We got body candles above my previous body candles. I did not want to see that. So one thing I'm looking for here, optimally, is that we are currently sitting below our previous wick, right? And we closed pretty significantly below that. We came up, caught the doji, got the pullback, but there is a good chance that we still catch that same price as that inverse head and shoulders that I was talking about. Because if you look at this from a bigger scale, you do still have that potential here. Oh, let's see. So we had a drop down here. Oh, did I get it right? What's going on? I don't know. Like, my stuff's not working. All right. So we'll just do this. Drop down here into the bounce up here. Into the drop down here. Into the bounce up here. Now, keep in mind, this is a higher high, right? This is a higher high. So if we were to look at this from a channel perspective, which very well could be the case, here, let's drop this. I need to clean some of this. Give me a second. So we got the higher high here. And if I were to take that and kind of look at it like from this direction, I don't know why this stuff's not working. Give me just a second, guys. Sorry. Hold on. I may have to close this and reopen it. Give me just a second, guys. I don't know why trading views acting ridiculous, especially I had the highest level one too. All right, you guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right. So over here,
should I? Sorry.
Into the totals. So what I was kind of thinking that there's potential for is something like that, right? And if they play this out long enough, it will still play like the inverse head and shoulders, where they have to play at a higher position, but you get the higher low into the higher high, and this turns kind of like into a W, right? But just a higher low, right? So we just have to kind of play this by ear as it goes, but we're already catching the retrace at not much of an improvement from highs, right? And if we look here at the RSI, let's see what we got going here. Oh, look at that. That is actually really bad. So RSI rejected where? Where'd the RSI reject?
Hard to see your screen, but I'm thinking it's 40.
Yeah, it is kind of hard, huh? Let's go with the here. We'll just do this.
You said you have the highest level trading view.
Yeah.
Is it worth it to get the higher one?
Not unless you trade a lot. And I mean a lot.
Yeah. There's no free version basically. You have to pay for it for the minimum.
No, there is a free version. Yeah.
Of trading view?
Mm-hmm. Hold on, I'm just trying to see my background.
I thought you had to pay for it.
Nope.
Oh.
I think you're thinking Nansen.
You mean the other one, competitor?
Dang, Will, leave it just like that. That's awesome. Yes.
Less blinding. So if we look here, where are we at?
So we're under the 50, right?
We're under the 50. That's not a good thing. It looks like we're rolling off the 50. Yeesh. Yeah. I'll have to keep an eye on this. This could be bad, but keep an eye on it. So I'd be kind of what's that?
Div?
Well, so anytime you're under the 50, you're very bearish, right? If the market's actually bullish, you want to be above the 50 on the RSI. So we're definitely not bullish from that perspective, from the total market cap, right? The total market cap. But we could hold this trend, which was just above our previous two highs. So I'll be watching for price to sweep this because if this RSI continues to drop to this, it should play out just like this, right? And it should be a higher low, a sweep of the low liquidity, shaking out the people going into the halving, right? Because your halving date's right here. So that would be our sweep into, I don't know what this is about. That would be your sweep into the low.
They've been having connection issues, Will.
Yeah, it's been
I've been having that problem too. Yeah.
Let me just change this.
I had that problem too with the connections, but I have to close windows. I guess I got too many open.
Yeah, but I have like I should be able to have as many open as I want.
I only have one window open always, and it's been doing that the last 2 days.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I've been having the same issue. But yeah, so let me just change some of this up so you guys can see it.
Yeah.
And I think there's one more right in here.
I was wondering why you changed your background to blue a couple months ago.
Yeah, I thought it was just more inviting, but it seems to be causing complications. People be able to see.
It's too bright.
And then this one right here to this. All right, so we have a lot of things going on here. We have basically the down draw, the bull flag that popped into a bear flag, and then potential. This is actually really clean because if they come into this, it will hit the top of the bull. It'll match the bottom of the bear. So, okay, we're gonna get rid of this. No need for that. I don't like the eyes being that close to each other, although we did have that occur over here. So if we look at this right here, from this perspective, see all the highs right there? And there's your lows. And basically sweep, 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 shift, go, right? And if we look at, and we treat this one kind of a similar way, expectations are, even if this liquidity is trapped at a lower position, they could swing high here, right? But they're going to sweep back down at some point. Now you can see here, they hit this high just like they did over here. Let's get rid of this one. And we'll get rid of that. So they swung down, basically similar move here, right? Similar move here, swung up, hit the high, and then came back down, hit the low later on. Going into March of 20. Man, this right here looks very similar to this. Does it not?
What was the price in May before the halving last time? Well, shouldn't it be a lot more bullish a year going into a year before the halving?
Yeah, so the halving is I think I had it. I don't know why it's not showing up. Oh, I think my time frame is just too big. There we go. All right, so that was the halving right there. So this was previous halving. Big dump going into the halving. We're not even close to that, to this time, right? But from here to here, which is kind of where we're peaking now, let's take a look at that. So we'll say, it's a hard one. 315 days. 273 days. So roughly not too bad, not the same amount of time. It just seems like liquidity is less here than what it was up here. I mean, look at the volatility over here. It's crazy. If you took this and extended it out, it almost creates support for this one. If you look at it, right, from a long-term perspective. So let's see what this looks like here. Yeah, that looks better. This looks better. Really, I'd like it. I would have liked it to fill this. That's really where I think a lot of people are looking for liquidity to go. But if we look at it from this perspective, we're doing this, but on a lot less price action, a lot less volatility on a bigger scale. It seems like we're kind of stuck here, right? That's just the reality of it. But I think we revisit the low at some point going into the halving, whether it be closer to the halving or, you know, maybe we could play this high for a little bit and grab some liquidity while price is playing up here. But if price is unable to break this trend that we're currently stuck in, I would expect that price is going to eventually revisit the low end of this channel, which will be higher, right? It'll be a higher price, like sitting around 840, maybe if it swing high around like 900. This is my ideal position to start really looking at entries if we get to this price. Because if we get in total market cap around 900 billion, 950 billion, a lot of things are destroyed. And if you looked at market cap here lately, we've been playing between two numbers. And I didn't even need a chart to tell me this. I could just look at CMC, right? And those two numbers have been like 1.25. So just so you guys know, that's 1,250 billion. And a low end price of about 1.1. So that's 1,100 billion. That has been where support has been. So once you break below that 1,100 billion, you're kind of falling into a position where you're breaking support, right? This is a BMS essentially of structure. And if price can get back up in here, and here's the thing, we got lower lows, right? So if price can get back up in here, technically, even though I'm expecting a bounce, which we could see in the short term, I'm expecting this thing to trend down, right? And what am I looking for them to recover? I'm looking for them to recover this. You guys see that? That's a lot of liquidity left behind. This is where they ran the market up, boom, reversed it, right? So understand what you're looking for and why you're trying to get to a certain price. It's not about I want it to, it's about what would make this happen. And in my eyes, they come back for this wick. A wick never goes unfilled, right? And that's what I want you guys to understand. Typically, this type of move will get recovered. Look, when price right across here, you guys see this wick? What did they do? What did they do? Anybody?
They recovered that, but there's a unrecovered wick in the previous cycle. Or like if you go back to the other channel, look, yeah, right there. right next to the halving or that last halving. They didn't recover that wick though. I was gonna ask you about that. Third circle, right there. That.
I think you're muted.
No, I said how many times did it touch?
Oh, 3 times.
What's the best indication of a bottom?
Yeah.
It's a triple bottom.
Triple bottom.
1, 2, 3. Triple bottom.
Damn, you just taught me a lot right there. Thank you, Will.
Yeah, no problem. A lot of people that it's not always that identifiable. It's just about zooming out and looking to see what's around. And because you ask the question, let the chart answer the question, right? That's really what it is. So price broke through here, big pullback, breakout, big pullback to recover the liquidity, big push up. They knew there was still liquidity here. They came back for the liquidity and then shifted out quick. Triple bottom. Now, arguably, a lot of people like to say, oh, this right here is this and that. Look, we could very well do the same thing here. What would that look like? Well, what do I have right there? See this green box? So if they're going to come back, are they going to live inside this green box for very long?
Might be a wick down there.
It'll be a wick and a shift out quick. So where's your most optimal position to be taking entries? Well, I can tell you it's not here. It's above here, right? And if you look here, see this W? See this W? You guys see it? Look, wick, wick, W, W. What's the expectation?
Wick.
Another wick. Where will price consolidate? Above the W. Above the W. See how there's a gap right here? See how there's a gap right here? I mean, I can't make this any more obvious. It doesn't always repeat, but it rhymes, right? 1, 2, 3, triple bottom. 1, 2, 3, triple bottom. And when I say 3, I mean they're going to wick in here. A lot of people are going to sell the bottom. Then they're going to reverse it really fast, consolidate just above here, and then take off. The best test of liquidity is 3 times. So test, test, test.
So that also applies on the higher side, right there where you are. So they won't, when they come back up to that 1.08 or whatever that is.
Over here?
No, not that one. No, the other one. Where current.
Oh, right here?
Current price action. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So you got
1, 2. The third one will break out.
The third one won't. Yeah, that's what I was. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, that's the play here. So basically, once they get priced back down there again, one more time, what they'll do is they'll swing high. A lot of people will be like, it's going to fail again, just like I did over here. And then it's going to go and go and go and go and go. And then people are like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And they'll start buying where? Well, they'll start buying probably right in here. If you guys notice, where did I stop my angle here? Did I stop it up here? No, I stopped it below. Because I expect once we start getting to the bottom of the overall consolidation zone, I need to start taking profits. If it gets to the high, it gets to the high. So I've already got my whole move mapped out here, pretty much.
Would it look the same on a monthly? How come it, I guess if it's a weekly, because it's still one of the higher time frames, we have a good like 90% chance of playing out, seeing as we have confirmation from the last cycle too, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of similar moves last cycle that we had this cycle. You got one retest, you got two retests, and you got three retests, pull back, just like I said on the other, remember what I said, they pull it back, and then they break it out. That's what they do to shake the last bit of people out. See how they come up for that third retest, pull back just a little bit, and then break? Whenever you get a triple top, ignore the pullback. It's typically going to break out. Really high percentage play here. Just like a really high percentage play is a triple bottom, right? And we've got one, we've got two, looking for that third, and I'll take the entry at the higher position. Why at the higher position? Because you're not going to catch this. Like, you guys can try. I can almost bet you once it gets down to here, you're going to have so many coins, so many altcoins, and so many things in the market that are wrecked that people are going to be scared to step in front of it. They just are. This is like natural for a lot of people. Yeah, so on a higher time frame, this is the expectation for total, right? This is total, by the way. This is not Bitcoin. This is the total crypto market, right? Great confirmations off the total crypto market that this plays out. All right, let's move into restore connection. Hold up, let me save that, and then I'm gonna reopen this so that way it'll. All right, we'll just do that. Save. Did that save? All right, I'm gonna close this, and then I'm gonna try and reopen it. Hopefully, it opens dark. Yeah, that one worked. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, cool. It worked. There. Check it out. No more blinding you guys.
Thank you, Will.
Yeah, no problem. Yep. All right, so moving into ARK. We talked about this, right? Breakout, breakdown, pin it, play, and it played to the downside perfectly. Consolidation low. We do have some lines on here. I don't really want to go through every single line and rewiden it. I'll do it later. Give me 1 second. Oh, didn't mean to do that. All right. So we got 1, 2, 3. Again, triple bottom, breakout, high move, peak, 1 attempt, 2 attempts, 3 attempts, break, pennant, drop down, a little bit of support bounce here, right? Into a drop, into a little bit of support bounce off the previous high, right? To a drop. And then basically come down, hit our low. Looks like we're in a descending channel. Looks like we're going to break down more, to be honest with you. So I had a bull flag and a bull flag, right? Double bull flag here. Was kind of optimistic on it, but I think it's going to break back for the low again before it breaks out. So I think you'll get better entries here. So like $26, whatever. So expectations are they continue to play this bull flag to the downside. This is risk off, guys. It's like this is a risk off market. So if we were risk on, ARK would be playing right now. ARK is one of the highest beta of betas when it comes to people wanting to bring on risk. These guys pick up stuff at the most worst times and the highest risk assets, in my opinion. If you look here, drop down, I'm expecting a breakout into a break, into a bottom, into a breakout, holding the trend, and then a big break for the downside. And for this to have one final capitulation event before it starts pumping. This is the expectation. This is the ideal area that I'm looking for. And yes, it is insanity, right? Because it's right in here. That's where I'm looking for them to come back down and test. Is the test the liquidity from here? And I know that sounds crazy. It is pretty crazy. I mean, here's the thing, you could take a play here and make an easy optimal entry around this price zone, right? Because you got 1, 2, 3, you're hitting into 4, and so on and so forth. So you could catch a 5th here and DCA here, and then maybe it starts breaking out. So you got a position here, but it could also, save some gas just in case this thing does want to come down, right? I would say always have a little bit of fuel in the tank just in case you want to catch these bottoms, because what you can buy here optimally is $5 less. What's going on? It looks like you've exceeded your plans. No, I have the best play, however. Yeah. So again, up here into a drop down here. Lucid. So this is one I've been watching with you guys and DCA actively. Trust me, I'm in it with you guys. I've been buying here and there. Every time price gets a little better. The problem is with Lucid is the liquidity it's like you can't really dump it. You just can't. Like there's the thing that people got to understand, like this is a low cap. There's only so much liquidity you can take from it, and people aren't going to sell at a massive loss. There's a lot of investment money in Lucid, from basically Saudis in a lot of different areas. So like I'm not too, I would say, worried. It's not a bank. If it were a bank, I would be very concerned in this chart pattern. You've got that build short, right? So I'm expecting for price to basically continue to hold its support here. And now I want you guys to keep in mind, I drew this support not off of this bounce, but originally off of just this downtrend right here, right? Because I was expecting Lucid to go bearish. So they came down, bounce right out that optimally, and really they could come down and hit it again, right? You catch this at $5.60. I would like them to hold this low, but really they kind of hit their bottom here if you look at it, right? So they hit their bottom here. You're well under the 30. You're way undervalued, extremely undervalued for a low cap. This is either a boom or bust play, right? So when I say a boom or bust, I mean this thing should do multiples for you in the coming years, like multiples, or it's going to zero. It's going bankrupt. One of the two. And I'm going to take the risk with it. I think that they have great cars. I think they are really good on innovation. They're a very good competitor against Tesla, better quality, really, in reality. Outside of self-driving, they don't have that. That is one thing that Tesla has up on them. But when you're talking about build quality and we even say seats and doors and everything else, it feels heavier. It feels more like a higher quality material, I would say. Teslas, they're kind of weird. Like I've rode in them. I don't have one personally, but like the leather feels like pleather, and like the door feels hollow. I don't know. Like I'm not trying to shit on Tesla completely, because I'm an investor in Tesla too. Not right at the moment, but I was, and I will be in the future. But the build quality doesn't feel the same. It just doesn't. Moving into Tesla. Let's look at it.
It kind of feels like it was made in China.
It feels cheap, don't it? Like
it
the
is.
doors, and it really does.
Yeah, even the Ludicrous model a few years ago was like, I mean, the drive is amazing, but
the drive's great. Yeah.
Cheap.
Yeah, but the material on it it doesn't feel like practical. It feels very cheap.
Yeah, it wasn't worth the money for me.
So looking at Tesla, man, there's just so much going on here. Like, as you can see on my chart, I'm just consistently on a daily basis trying to look for direction on this thing. And I can't see anywheres but down. I really can't. Like I've tried I've looked at different angles. I've looked at the way the previous market moved, like so many different things. And like, it just seems like the only direction that Tesla's given me is I want to fall over and go really deep. Even this bounce, look, it's really weak. Like, look, you've yet to exceed your high, right? You've had multiple tests, and like, now you're forming lower highs. Like, really? I mean, best case scenario I could see here is boom, 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 maybe a breakout, maybe. I mean, I don't know, man. This one's. I would say that this is a possibility. That's a possibility, right? They fill the 145 gap, shift off of that. Tesla starts doing well from there, and everybody tells you how you need to buy Tesla because it's going to do all these multiples because all these random ass things that they make up in their head are going to happen. So on and so forth. I like Elon. I think he is very predatory to his investors, and his investors believe everything he says, and then he dumps on their heads multiple times, like he showed in last year. And I don't like that, So
Twitter's gotten better on this chart. Well,
yeah.
So if you go to the upper part of that pinnacle, whatever you call it, the pendant, where the blue, where you have all that bullish. Oh wait, did you just change the time? Keep going up. No, to the top of that.
Up here?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Go to where that line, that trend line begins. You see how you have those two blue candles underneath the C?
Yep.
Yeah. So if this is like the beginning of this pinnacle and it's going up, wouldn't we want to see that resolve to the up at the end of that? Yeah.
Oh, you mean to meet back up here?
Yeah, like I thought, like if it starts bullish, then it continues bullish when it ends.
Yeah, that's the way I'm looking at it, right? I'm approaching it from that perspective because we had the sideways consolidation, which happened here, into the breakout, into the sideways consolidation, into the breakout, into what now arguably could be, a pennant move into a breakout. Yeah, it could very well. And I say pennant more from the standpoint of the takeoff back to the retest, right? And so you've got a trend, you got a downtrend, you got an uptrend. They come to a perfect precision pennant move, consolidation, tightening into an explosive move to continue price up. Yeah, this very well could be 145 could be the bottom. Could 100% be the bottom. Now, here's the other issue. Just like the NASDAQ, we could see that breakout, but that breakout could also come to here, fall deeper, and turn into a W, right? And now we got other issues because we caught a lower price. And that would basically just result in Tesla retesting these other gaps that exist. This isn't even the lowest gap. This is the lowest gap. And if you look at this from a weekly perspective, there is no gap here. That's only on the daily. But if you look at this from a weekly perspective here, there is a gap here that has gone untested at 84. So for price to come back here, I would not say it's impossible. The breakout move could occur, right? And it could even occur all the way up to a double top, right? So you basically got one test, two tests, and then what would this one be? Be a third retest. Yeah. And it could be the same thing in favor of this. If you look at this from this perspective too, take this low to this low, you're coming to that point. Not saying you couldn't buy here. You could definitely buy here, I think, and make money, right? You're so close to that gap. I think they do fill the 145 gap at minimum. And then and that's why I had this built this way too, just so you know. Like, this is exactly why I had this built this way. Because the expectation was that they're going to break out, right? It's just, do they break out and continue breaking out, or do they break out and then swing back low before they break out again, right? And you've got a couple different supports here you can look at. You got your trend of your downside, and then you've got your trend basically of your breakout. Now, here's the thing too. They could deviate high. That's what a lot of people would miss there, right? So if they deviated high, you know what that would tell me? That would tell me this. This line to this line.
Broadening wedge.
Broadening wedge. So this could be the other play. So I'm giving you guys lots of options here to look at this, right? So yeah, well, the recording for sure. So there's a lot of different ways you can look at this perspective. I think up before down, but I think down is inevitable, right? And here's the thing: if you don't swing up, you miss a lot, right? You miss a lot. So yeah, I think a long position here would make sense if you wanted to go long here. That actually does make sense, and that'd be pretty nice gain right there, 580 if they were able to capture that. And then, you know, they basically take all that away, back down to like 86, 5x or 6x down pretty much from where it was started at, and then roll it back up again. But this is like an economic crash type situation too. I want you guys to understand that. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Because I think once we see that uninversion, this could occur before that uninversion. Well, while that uninversion is happening, usually about 1 year out from the uninversion is typically the market bottom, or where the market will start to really break down for a bottom. We did cover Lucid. Simon, I don't know if you were here for that.
Yeah, I saw. Thanks.
Okay, cool. No problem. Shopify. So Shopify looks like obviously it topped right here, multiple retests. This is a very bearish move. You got price breaking down, right? On the RSI, you got price moving up. This is basically looking to break down, broke down. Looks like it's rolling out, so it's not bad. I like this. Popped off up here pretty hard. This is something we talked about, them kind of breaking into this move and then breaking out of this resistance, which is precisely what they did. And remember, when I tell you guys this all the time, we're looking for force. They came through with heavy force on Shop. Like they're like, we don't care, we're just going up. So they brought price way up, probably a retrace back down to trend, right? And then probably a big pump again. So we're getting what we call impulse moves, right? We talked about this with Bitcoin. So this is an impulsive move. We'll probably get a little bit of pullback, probably to right here, right? This high, where price basically tested 54, 55. It'll probably then shift away or maybe consolidate here for maybe a month or two. And then another impulse move, maybe consolidate a little bit, and an impulse move, right? I'm looking for them to come pretty hard for this upside. The resistance I'm looking for is right here, right around 91.50. That's basically the support right here before the market ran up into that bearish uptrend, right? So we had that bearish uptrend right here, broke down. We then come back up, retest that bearish uptrend, and if we can get above it, that'll be good. This is the side you want to be on if you're looking to beat Super Bowl. But I think for now, and you can see here, I drew it out: consolidation, and then an ABC correction, bigger scale, right? We always zoom out for the bigger move. So that's from back here to here. They basically come back and they retest it here, and then they leg up again, right? And that's their breakout move. So a lot of these are looking really good structurally. Apple. So Apple is absolutely something I would not invest in. So I took a lot of approaches at Apple, right? And really, this is the best one I think that fits it for now. And that's just like a consolidation range high. Now, keep in mind, this can break out at any time, right? It can definitely break out at any time. But the biggest thing is understanding the high and the low, right? So that you're closer to the high than you are to the low. Expectations are they are not going to break out here. Not only do they're so close to the high, but they're just continually seeing this downtrend on strength, right? Strength is just dropping. So we may come back up and test it, but strength is dropping, which means this thing, at some point, I think may see lower lows. Yeah, exactly. Good. So it looks like an optimal possible put opportunity. But keep in mind, like, you can see right here by the candle, see how small this candle is, and this small, this is their impulse move, right? So you got impulse into hesitation, impulse into hesitation, into hesitation, now expected hesitation. They can play this out for multiple months going into the end of the year. If you're going to put this, I would put it out towards the end of the year, like October, November, December, somewhere in there. I think that'd be your most optimal position to be looking to get profit on this if you're looking to put puts on it. Going into the DXY, I think the DXY has legs still. I keep telling you guys over and over, and look at that. Look at that move on the DXY. Look at that move. Pulling up really hard, 102.705. Really strong push on the dollar. And we've seen this before. Look, when the dollar starts to catch a bid, it can go really strong, right? This is really strong movement. I think the dollar continues to bid, right? Comes back up, retest the high right here. Yeah, this could very well play into a W. Exactly. That's what I've been looking for too. So we look at this higher time frame. This could play into a W. You don't want to see that though. You do not want to see the dollar get back up here. The dollar gets back up here, assets are significantly lower than where they are. Like really bad.
Well, that could be November. That could be November when it's up there.
It could be, but like if we look at time frame, right? Like for this to play to the high, from the high to the low, that's basically 126 days. So yeah, that could technically be in that time frame.
About 4 months.
Yeah, it would just be so bad if that played out. And you can see it right here. It's already starting to bid on the monthly. If it starts bidding hard, look, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Assets will be crushed. We aren't even above all-time highs yet. Like these assets will be forming lower lows at that place. I personally don't want to see that, and that's just because like it would be bad. But we are catching a bid on the 52, which is bullish. So I don't think the dollar's done yet. I just don't. Now, assets could be getting crushed, but it could be a combination of two things. Could be assets coming down, which is that they're not getting crushed as badly, and other currencies moving into our currency, right? That could be the other scenario too. So let's keep that in mind when we're looking at these. But definitely keep an eye on the dollar. I think the dollar's bidding. It is definitely bidding. Looks good. Looks solid on the daily, as well as the weekly, monthly. U.S. oil. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little bearish on this for a little bit. Did form a lower low, but again, the support is here, right? The support is here, and I, for some reason, didn't feel I needed to zoom out and look at that. But that's basically where we're coming back to. We haven't broken structure until you get below $62. Oil could very well swing high again. So something definitely to keep an eye on. Oil could literally scoot the floor for multi-months and then just start zooming, right? That would be really, really, really bad because that means inflation is coming back with a vengeance. We do not want to see that. Euro dollar. I thought this looked bullish. I still do. It's still following trend, just like what gold did originally. Kind of played the high and the low here. So don't get faked out by euro dollar. This means that we could see the euro gain strength against the dollar. Dow Jones. So what are we seeing with the Jones here? What are we seeing without me drawing anything? All right, we ignore this. What are we seeing? We can look at it. Okay. What's up?
No,
consolidation.
I can't even talk. Sorry.
So if you look here,
Our side's above the 50, bullish. It's at
What a-
resistance.
it's at resistance. And what's it doing at resistance?
Kind of trading sideways.
Printing sideways, right? It doesn't appear it wants to break through. So I'm gonna show you guys something else that I have here in black that I didn't change the color on because I didn't want you guys to see it. What do we see right there?
Like a broadening wedge.
Broadening wedge, right? It's a bullish broadening wedge. If they can't get above here and the next month, this thing's gonna drop. So Dow Jones is something I'm watching like a hawk. Not too crazy on it at the moment, but they could also build off of this trend, right? So we have this trend right here. And if they could come down to hit this trend and start swinging against it, that would be your opportunity to get in if you were interested in Dow Jones. Oil plays are doing all right. Energy is kind of consolidating high off the bounce at the low, so that's usually a continuation pattern. Hal has room to come down. CRC, so something to keep an eye on here. CRC looks like it's topping, right? And look at this gap. Look at this gap. You guys see that, right?
In all its
Yeah,
glory.
looks like they forgot to print a candle.
Isn't that when there was like a bankruptcy or something going on?
Oh, it don't matter what it was. That's not something that's not going to get filled in my. I think they'll come back for this. Look at this gap. Like it's 237%. Now you want me to show you the real percentage here? It started here.
We got 7x.
Imagine that on a put. I don't know how long it's going to take to play out, but I think they're coming back for it. And you can tell right here just by the look at the hesitation up here. Look at the hesitation up here.
Looks like it's getting ready to roll over.
You guys see that round top?
Yep.
Yeah, it's full on resistance up here. And you can see right here, it's already veering down, right? They could reverse it. They could reverse it. I think it's unlikely that they're going to reverse it before filling that gap. They could do one of these, right? But I think they're going to go and just start sliding into the gap. And once they hit that gap, free fall, right? All the way down. And then build their way back out. Here's the high and the low of the zone. Oh, up here. That I've been watching. But this is the play right here. Keep in mind, this is on the monthly. Look at how long they've been floating up here. $942 days, 3 years. So it's not something I think that you should put in and play it till the end of the year. I think you should continue to monitor this chart. And when it starts getting close to this, I don't care if it's a year from now, 2 years from now, set an alarm. Set an alarm below this price. When you get that alarm, start watching it. The closer it gets to this gap, I'd put in a put, probably give it 3 months, 2 months. This fallout happened literally in 1 month. 1 month. It dropped that far. And I think that they'll do the same thing here. They'll puke low, and then they'll play off of that to the upside, right? The support really is down here. And if they're going to do that, they may even go for a lower low. as you can see by the trend right here. You've got a solid, like, look, support turned in 1, 2, 3 times. They've tried to break out of this resistance. They cannot break out. This looks distressed. California Resource Corporation. So something to keep an eye on. Really good put opportunity, I think, if it plays, / call opportunity if it plays, right? So you catch the put, maybe throw 20% on a long if it retests the lows here, and, you know, watch this thing play out on a multi-year scenario. You could probably put a 2-3 year put in on this thing and just kind of, or not put, but like call once it hits the low here. I would wait for price to break down though first here, because this thing, it could shift away. It has. I've seen crazier things happen, but I don't see them leaving a gap this big behind. I don't see it, but maybe I'm wrong. VLO looks droopy. Another energy play. CTRA, something that was entertaining. Looking for a possible inverse. We'll see if that plays out. BEP kind of playing to the tune I was thinking. Come back up, retest the high, which is basically right up here. W formation, higher low, boom, breakout, bigger move up. Renewable energies, Brookfield. They've done it before right here, same thing. So they basically did a W formation right here, higher low, broke out, W formation here, higher low, break out. That's the expectation here for this one. TC Energy Corporation. Nothing too crazy. This is like a way bigger play. You got the W right here, and then boom. These W's play out heavily with this one. This one's kind of a crazy stock right here. It's been around for a long time. So NEE looks like it's consolidating to the downside. I would say there's good opportunity on a long-term basis to be looking at this for a breakout. Usually it has these downdrafts and then just has these long runs. Downdraft, run up, long run. And so usually you take these as opportunities to take entries on Next Energy. COP, so this one popped out. ConocoPhillips, basically consolidation, breakout, possible retest of the channel right here. And then another shift off of that. So I'd wait for price to really come back down here to like $70 or whatever. If it comes down to here, great. Hop in, take the ride up. If it stays up here elevated and breaks out again, it's probably a longer term rollover move where it's going to come back later. NOPE, something I've been kind of looking at and DCing. I've told you guys this. Solid floor, right? Solid floor right there. Just holding. Boom, big bust, consolidating. And what's it doing here on the RSI? Anybody?
Below the 50, but it looks like it's
Which way is price building on the RSI?
It's upward.
It's building long, right? So strength is building against what we are currently holding as support. So when you see strength building up, support holding, that's typically an indication for a potential reversal move where price will start building to the upside, start making impulsive moves to the upside. I think Nope is on the precipice of a breakout. And
is that a bullish div?
Yeah, it's a bullish div. Exactly. You got price basically breaking the opposite direction of the move, right? So you got the breakdown, support hold into a strong move out, right? So something to keep an eye on. I've been DCAing this. I'm expecting a breakout at some point. And this thing could really move if it plays, right?
In a nutshell, what is that?
What is what?
What is Nope?
Nope is a actively traded ETF. So These guys right here basically trade the market based on how the market's moving. Now they don't trade to make profit. They trade to stay in line with how the market is. So if they think the market's bearish, they will move defensively. If they think the market's bullish, they will move offensively. Does that make sense? As far as reallocating the portfolio. So actively traded just means that they're basically adjusting the portfolio with accordance to how the market is. So they're moving with market conditions.
Do you know what they hold, or what are they? I mean, does it matter? Or is it just strictly based on market movement?
So for me right now, it's basically market movement. I can tell you this, they haven't turned much of a profit as of late. And I think it's just because they've been more defensive than offensive. But if offensive is wrong, then they will profit from offensive being wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So sometimes ETFs like these, they will play the opposite side and won't be profitable for periods of time. But their profitability will really come into play if the market is completely offsides. That means all these big moves that the market's already gained will be lost, and these guys will make significant moves against whatever has already been pushed into the market. Yeah, it's all about positioning at the end of the day. Strong move here on Chevron. Not too bullish, really, to be honest with you. At the moment with Chevron, it's something that Warren Buffett holds big. He has a big position in Chevron. That's why I kind of watch it. But it's another one that's kind of like a breakout move, right? It had its consolidation move, breakout. Now it's, do we continue? Whatever, These could also be deviations too. So you got to always be careful with that. A deviation is just where price just breaks above, but then falls back into the zone, which typically will trim back down and continue to consolidate. And typically before it breaks out, it will deviate low and then break back in and then break out. So you get the deviation into the breakout move. If it ends up being a deviation, that is. Exxon, still bullish on Exxon. I think Exxon has some room to come down. I will say this, boom. Easy, right? Easy. So we do have that kind of ceiling cap scenario playing out here, but we are forming higher highs on the RSI. So strength came in really heavy here, and we did exceed previous highs. So everything's kind of matching up to how the market's moving. So it doesn't look too bad. Kind of a bit of a broadening here, but more angular to the downside, right? So a lot of risk here due to the angle. You don't want to see this type of angle because, like, if it does come down, it's going to really come down. But overall, like, upside's really good here. I expect what they're going to try and do here is they're going to try and hold, and then break, right? And then bounce, and then break. And then the market moves something like that. That's my expectations. They could come as low as here and still do that, right? But if they break below here, which is basically $65, they're going to free fall all the way back down to the lows. TTE, a little bit of a breakout move here. But again, it could be another deviation. I would highly recommend you guys look up deviations. They've been playing out a lot in the market. But you basically got where the price breaks out of the zone and then breaks back below it again. Those more or less are deviations. It's where price is deviating high to fish in as many long positions as they can. And then, coming back against them to take out all those long positions. So those can be some little tricky areas where a lot of market makers get played. Kind of like right here, right? Where price broke well below. They caught all the shorts. Shorts were looking for lower and lower and lower. And then boom, pulled back against it and wicked it back up. If you look at price from the wick standpoint, it's almost like they were trying to come for this price zone, but pulled it away quickly before that happened and then shifted back up. Now, the way to tell easily if they're going to shift it back away and you're not going to reach your destination is RSI, right? RSI starts banging its head on the third. Look, you got one hit and you got two hits of the low right here. When it starts hitting the 30, it's oversold. It's oversold, period. regardless of how the economy looks, typically the market will try to buy up oversold. Even if the market's bearish, it will try to buy up oversold, push it back up. And then once it creates that room in the RSI back to the high, it will then push it back down. This does have a bearish deviation. So this could be a deviation high. If we look here, we got a downtrend, and we look over here, we got an uptrend. That is basically a bear div playing out as we speak. So this does not look too good for Total Energies. And I'll continue to monitor it, but should expect a breakdown. Striker playing the high, expect a consolidation high here around the 1. Could hold, could come out to the golden pocket, tap it one more time and move away. It's got a strong uptrend overall, long period of time. Since 09, it's been in this trend. So until this trend breaks, I expect it to hold. So nothing crazy here. Not really the place to buy until it either hits a trend or it retraces lower. Starbucks finally failed. All right. I don't know what to make of this shape. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to make a head and shoulders here, but I don't really like the the head and shoulders bottom moving like this. So I don't want to do that, but I do want to point out again something we talked about earlier. 1 with L, 2, 3. All right, 3 tap high trend, push up, boom. Now the problem is that we're having is that we just have not been able to get above here. We formed a lower high here, or higher high, right? And then higher high here. And if we cannot swing higher here, we're going to be forming a lower high here. And then we should take this trend as a downtrend, not an uptrend, right? And how should we approach that? Well, we should approach that from the perspective of trying to start with a channel and then finding out where it goes from that channel, right? So basically taking our highs to our lows with expectations that price will remain constrained between our channel price here, right, to the downside. So that's something to keep an eye on. I have a support here. I have the overall uptrend here. So expect for price to maybe be respected and come back to this $84, $85. And if it continues to want to break out, this would be a pennant, right? Why would it be a pennant? Because the channel is not the only thing here. If we get rid of that, this is basically where we're just holding support right now. Currently, from a horizontal standpoint, and this is our high, right? So we've got our high, we've got our channel, we've got our uptrend, and we've got where they meet, right? And so what I would think is that they're going to swing low into this pinch point, right? The middle of the channel and the uptrend of the move, and then start swinging like this. Now, keep in mind, when they start getting this going, what are they looking to do here? Yeah, unfortunately, till the end of the year. So I'm hoping to God they get back to here. I'm completely obliterated. We'll see. I mean, honestly, I don't know how much longer I can hold it at this point, but we'll see. If we're looking at this, we're looking at an easy $85, $86 Starbucks. You can already start to see the top round here, right? I'm expecting it to start forming lower highs. I want to see those lower highs though before I do anything with this. And then once we catch that first lower high, more than likely you can get a put off that lower high and start to play this thing to the downside and then start getting buy positions in here and or calls, whichever one you want to do. So just like Tesla, how Tesla looks, Starbucks looks pretty solid for a pennant move, right? So ignore the channel. If we were to do that and we were to just look at the low and the high, we're looking at this build into this uptrend build. Now, how do we know it's a pennant? Because if you look at the angle of the downtrend to the angle of the uptrend, they're almost identical. They're not steepening on one side and not the other, right? You don't want a steepening one. You want an even one. So we're moving into this pennant move, and typically a pennant breakout is the size of where it occurred, right? So it occurred from the high to the low of the pennant. This would just be the pennant by itself, and your breakout move would be something like that. So you would move from an $85 Starbuck from the low, right, to your breakout high, wherever that breaks out. We'll say it breaks out somewhere's up here because it's probably going to roll this a little bit. Breakout move up here, and their high end position would be 182. That would be the expectations for this move if it continues to play this uptrend. ARK, this one looks good. Breakout, consolidation, and I'm expecting another breakout, right? At some point. We'll see how long it takes to play out. Closer to the end of the year is how this one looks. ELF. This thing has just been up only, even through the bad market. It's been up only. This one's been a pretty crazy one. I'm not necessarily interested in buying, just because it hasn't had really any real pullback. A little bit here, but I want to see some big pullback up here. I'm looking for something like this. A move back down to recapture all the liquidity down to like 34. Might catch a higher move right in here, right? This is very possible. They just come out to tap this and shift away from that and leave this behind. They could do that. So safe entry would be around 49 to about 49. A better entry I would like is around 32, 34. I have to look at their P&E too. So again, expectations are from this, can channel high, break down to the bottom of the channel. Now, I know this is a bear flag, and we've talked about this before. Bear flags tend to break down, and this is very possible to break down. But I've also seen it when it's been over long periods of time, because time can be consolidation, right? Even if you've got a bear flag, bull flag, and that stuff. When you've been playing a range for multi-year scenarios, either you're going bankrupt or you're going to break out. Right. So I'm expecting this thing to go. I am just expecting it to go. Alta looks really, really primed. Could fall back one more time before that happens. But this to me is just, it's a range, right? You're just ranging right now and you get your move. And you'll see it again and again with like things like Tesla, Google, right? So like here's Tesla. Look, very similar move right here. And this was the beginning of Tesla. Keep in mind, this could be the beginning of Alta. I don't think Alta will be as big as Tesla, but you got your range, and really it's a bear flag pattern, right? But even though it's a bear flag pattern, because you've been consolidating for a multi-year play, 1, 2, 3, 4 years before you actually make a move out of this consolidation zone, that consolidation actually breaks out. And this is something I haven't really talked to you guys about before, because bear flags and bull flags work, but they don't work on high time frame plays. So when I say high time frame, I mean multi-year. If you've had a multi-year consolidation, typically you're looking to break out or your company is going to go to zero. So this is the move I'm expecting Alta to play, kind of like what Tesla did. Boom, sideways consolidation, big breakout for Alta. Now I'm not calling for 9,000 a stock on Alta. I just want you guys to understand it. Well, maybe something, I don't know. They're currently 513, right? So there's always that possibility. I mean, they're pretty expensive for a stock. But, you know, if that ends up playing, you know, it could play out. They need to do a stock split is what they need to do so the general public can get in. That's very expensive for general people. U.S. gas. U.S. gas, man, I've been in this thing for a while now, getting wrecked. I would like it to go up. Yeah. Oh, I read your mind on that, on stock split. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you need to make the stock cheaper so people can accumulate. The only way people could accumulate partial stocks is Robinhood. No real investor really wants to use Robinhood. I'll just be real with you guys. So like they're using things like TD Ameritrade, so they have to buy a whole stock or they can't buy it at all. And typically they want to get in through those methods. So to make it more appealing to retail, you want to do a stock split. And that's typically why I think stock splits appear to be bullish, because it's like, oh, we can farm in more retail because we made the stock more affordable for retail. So that's why you usually get those bullish moves in stock splits, because they want you to buy at the highest possible price. So they'll push price up before the stock split occurs, and then the retail comes in and buys the stock for more expensive pricing. And then guess what happens after retail comes in and buys all that stock for more expensive pricing because they couldn't afford 2 or 3 before? They sell into you. It's a really weird process, right? You pump up the price right before retail can get in. Retail gets in, you sell into retail. And then retail will probably drop their bags and sell them back to the people that pumped up the price, or the market maker. And then they'll pump up the price, or then they'll buy back in again later. Yeah, exactly. Reverse stock splits. Yeah, those two.
Do you have Estee Lauder on any of your charts?
I do. We're gonna get to that.
Oh, you will? Okay, I was wondering what happened to, like, died or something.
No, they're all right. They're not doing too bad. Google. I mean, this is a circular bottom, guys. We talked about this. It was ranging really nicely. I was honestly expecting this to come down one more level, but you had the consolidation high over here. It was pretty obvious, right? They were sitting on top of liquidity, kept testing the liquidity from right here. And they bounced off it, broke through, caught the bid, boom, came back up, hitting the top of the next zone. Yeah, no problem, Sonny, for sure. And now they're kind of hitting the top end of this consolidation zone. I mean, yeah, a lot of people are trying to. No, I think Google came out with an AI thing, and they got shot down because it was crap. They came out and kept giving wrong answers. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. We'll see how this plays out. I think they're still kind of in a consolidation here, but this is still kind of a price zone to where, you know, this is like a low to a high, and a lot of people aren't looking like that. You got your monthly candles, you got your low, high. You can range here for a while, right? You get above here, now you're pushing this upper threshold. Now you got room to come all the way to like 135. And really, if you get above that, you got room to surpass all-time high. So it's kind of something to eyeball right now. Necessarily buying here for a breakout, I don't think it's the smartest move. I think if you're looking to get into a breakout move, you're looking to get above like 125, and you're not going to have much growth from there. So it's all about your perspective and where you want. Like I said, this right here was basically 2020's pricing, so it was an optimal place to take a position if you wanted to. But it looks like Google's kind of reset its stochastic, really reset its RSI, and has room to run. There's good potential that they continue to see this downtrend ceiling that they're kind of sitting under right now. And maybe reject off that, but we'll see at the end of the day. Actually, it looks like they've already breached it. Yeah, right here. And you can see right here, look, right when they breached it, what happened? Boom. They broke straight through the resistance right here. As soon as they breached it right here, first month. And then they breached, and now they're above the 50. So now they're kind of in a they've got a bullish momentum rolling, right? Doesn't mean they can't fail and come back down. It just means that they have momentum to push at this point. Estee Lauder. So Estee Lauder for me is gonna come down. The reason, I guess kind of a couple different scenarios here. So really, that's a tough one. It's kind of holding right there. So if we wanted to really puke, like what I'm showing right here, you want it to break this. If it breaks 153, this is going to be a ridiculous downtrend. It will probably come back up, retest, and just start puking, right? And come down pretty far to this lower position. But there's a lot of levels that they have to get through, and they just haven't broken them yet. They double bottomed here, which was something I was identifying the other day. So that's a double bottom. Regardless of how you look at it, it is a lower low, but a double bottom. They need to come down to like something like this to really create a lower low, right? So that would make sense in the aspect of the trend, right? So that's your trend right there. So if they come out and retest like 173, they could still stay in this momentum of a tightening position. So understand the move from a tightening position. It's basically a falling wedge, right? So if they stay in a falling wedge, this could break out. So expectations are they maybe move into something like this. Maybe come up, retest one more time, come down a little further, right? Retest this low. Don't violate this low. Do not violate this low because that will be very bearish. Then break out. Nobody believes it. Break out again. Nobody believes it. Moonshot, moonshot, moonshot. And then now you're back above all-time high. So that won't all happen in a day, in a month, or anything like that, but it will take time. But this would be the bullish scenario. Breaks this price, this will be the bearish scenario. It's going back down to 74, 75. So that's what I'd be looking for on this one. OT. Cody's falling back to its consolidation low. Might come back down to double bottom. The one place you don't want to break unless you want to just go on a full-on free fall is $10.58. You break $10.58, you're coming down pretty hard. I would start here and then maybe even come down to like something like right here. So those would be like your levels if you break this zone. You do not want to see this right here break $10.58. No problem, Ellie. All right. Interperfumes, if you guys are into this type of thing. Bearish div. You got a higher high and you have a lower high. Not good, right? Not good, not good. This is a deviation. So this is a clear deviation. A lot of people won't catch it because they're looking at it holding support. And what a deviation is just where the RSI is telling you this is bearish. The market got above support and it's holding it there. But the reality of a deviation is it's only meant to hold to trap longs here. And then deviations tend to play back under the trend and play back to the downside. Now, where we'd like them to hold is here. At minimum, at most, we want to see them hold here. If they don't hold here, they're going to free fall pretty far down. You got to support here, and you have another one here. You don't want to see them push into this zone, though. You want to see them stay above here. So ideally, they stay above here, and that keeps them above consolidation. Typically, if you move into consolidation, you'll consolidate, but you'll end up breaking down to previous liquidity, at least the high end of it. So L'Oreal. I know you guys are probably like, why does this do all those makeups? Because these things are running, man. they have legs. Money is money. So
well, I heard they go to safety for these because they say they do well in recession. So that's why they're buying it, because everybody's expecting that December recession.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like these things are getting bid up insanely. On this trend, I mean, look at it. Look, it's like basically up only. So you hit the trend, like multiple retests. I love it. It just keeps holding it. I think you are high here. And you're seeing it basically through this. Look at your RSI. You are very high, right? I think this thing rolls over back to trend around like $73, something like that. So definitely keep an eye on this one. I think it's bearish, but if you start getting around this trend line, I think you should look to be bullish on this one. L'Oreal. Amazon, yes. I've been bidding Amazon. It is now breaking out. I'm telling you guys, like, this thing's going to get above here. It's above the 50, and it's going to run. It's going to run. Here's the next resistance all the way up here, 146. A lot of people are going to miss this move. It's going to run up to 146 and then hit this high up here, 178. Well, I don't know about the 178. I think it'll stay below consolidation high, which is right here. But I think that this is a very optimal place for a profit taking right here on 148. Breakout move. It might hesitate a little bit and then just do what Google did and come up here and set against the resistance, right? So this is one to keep an eye on. Zoom, still above my entry price. I still think this is an optimal buy. I really do. Zoom could roll lower. Not too worried about it. Look, we're here. I'm thinking it could roll lower to here. Does that matter? No. So if you're DCA and Zoom, like this is a place to be looking to buy. Like I think Zoom can very easily be looking at, you know, a consolidation zone into a bigger move out. Going into NASDAQ. NASDAQ doesn't look too great to me. Lower high. Got to swing high. We just need to remain above here. I don't know what's up with this thing. Did I not put a line there? All right, anyways, this area right here, 92.37. Man, this ain't trading views been bad lately. My gosh. Yeah, this is the expectation here. It looks like they might have done a stock split or something because I had this up here. That's weird. They had to have done a stock split because I didn't move that. But yeah, here's where I was expecting rejection. Rejection came in, falling back down, expecting to come at 96.17. That's expectations here. Hex. Hex came down. I'm expecting Hex to hold. Like, and I want to see it hold above here. Right. So the big drop that happened, I'm expecting it to come back above here, consolidate here, and just start moving off of this. So that's expectations for Hex. Nothing too crazy.
It may go down to 1 cent after, you know, like after the total 3 goes down.
It could. It could. Yeah, it very well could revisit the lows, if not go lower. Right. I was just looking at this from a swing opportunity, at least in the short term, which I think a lot of people are ignoring. Right. Swing high, come back up, retest, fill the wicks here, get people super bold before I end up rolling back down with the total market cap. Oh, it was a stock split. Nice. Yeah, I wasn't aware. But yeah, this right here is just consolidation for right now. And you got to keep in mind too, some of these won't see drawdown like others, right? Like their liquidity is so low, like they basically only have dust left for a lot of wallets, which means they can't sell out even if they wanted to. It's just there's nothing there to sell. So that's the other thing we got to consider too when we're looking at these. But yeah, that's what I'd look for that one. Consolidation. Now it could form a lower low, like Medardo just said, it could just go and then play below that, but it's not going to be like, I think total pulls back kind of like how I showed you on the total 3 pulls back, kind of like I showed you on a total. You catch a big wick, right? A lot of people, they see it falling, they don't look at where it's at in price, and they're like, oh, that's catching a falling knife. I need to wait for it to consolidate and show me true price. And by the time it consolidates, it's much higher. Does that make sense? Like a lot of these prices, they're going to dip down really far, but they're going to pull back up pretty hard too once they get into those really oversold conditions. Because you're going to see market makers coming and scooping a lot of this up really quick. So you just got to be on top of it if you guys are looking to catch optimal bottoms. But I would be looking at DCA from certain points in the chart and just like, you know what? I know this is still 3x up from where I can go, but you know, I'm going to take a chance on a small amount here, and then I'll, you know, if I can catch these bottom optimal prices, I'll take a little more there. That's the way I'd look at it. But yeah, that's pretty much the market in a nutshell. I think somebody asked for H&T real quick. I think it was Erica. I wouldn't really focus too much on H&T. It was pretty hot commodity last cycle. I don't think it'll do as well this cycle. I'm just keeping it real, but we'll take a look at it real quick. See what it's doing.
Thanks, Cyril.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I think some other shit. I thought I had it. Oh yeah, I do. Cool. Oh yeah, that thing is going back for its bottom. That's what it's going back for. It already broke all my supports. It's back in the consolidation low here. I mean, you could take a stab at it here, but like I think it's gonna come back down to like here. That's pretty crazy. It looks like it bottomed here on the RSI, popped up pretty hard, and then came down again, right? You do have strength. I'll tell you that. Look. If you look at it from this perspective, you're a little bit angled down, right? Little bit angled down, and you are angled up on strength. So strength is playing in your favor. So this could be a DCA point, actually, looking at it from a strength standpoint. It's really strong as far as the higher lows and the lower lows, right? So you got lower lows and higher lows, so this looks strong here. Stochastic saying it's kind of cooling down, so it could kind of come down a little bit further, but yeah, you could DCA here. At minimum, this will be a pop, right? And you'll get a good take profit opportunity. At best, this could be a bottom. And keep in mind, some of these coins, they're going to run before the bottom actually comes, right? Before the altcoin gets wrecked. So what that means is if they start running like this, when altcoins come back and the altcoin market starts getting wrecked, they could just come back to where they were versus creating lower lows. It depends on how strong they've been. But if they've been weak the whole time, and then we're going into that portion where the total 3 is going to start dropping, then at that point you can definitely see a lot of these seeing lower lows if they don't have that pop off to give them more strength to not see as much lower low. We can cover Rivian real quick. Yeah, I haven't covered them in a little bit. Look at that. Beautiful. So this was the expectation here. Rolled right into it. And this is what I was expecting for them to do, is kind of roll lower and kind of hold these lows. And if you look here, remember, we talked about this many, many, many times with Rivian. That's why I haven't really been talking about it a lot. It has really strong buying, right? Against its drop. So you got a bull div playing out on Rivian. I think Rivian's only a matter of time before it moves. All right, you guys have any other questions real quick?
I have a quick question, Will.
Yep.
What do you think would be like a good for BTC on Sunday's close? A good indication of direction.
For BTC. So
yeah, like
I guess ideally, I just want to see BTC kind of hold this. Actually, let me grab this one. Hold its channel, in a sense, which is right there. But the upper channel that a lot of people ignored was there the whole time. Right? A lot of people just blatantly ignored that it existed. Sorry, I'm going to put this on the weekly real quick. I think it just froze. Wonderful.
It's just low. It'll come up.
Is this just TradingView itself? I know it's not my computer.
Yeah, that's what's happening to me. I have a pretty fast machine. It's the only thing acting up. Yeah, yesterday it took like 3 minutes for it to come up, so hopefully that won't happen. But it's crazy.
Let's see if we can open another one. Yeah, so kind of a similar one I drew it over here too. But this is the bigger move, right? Now, everyone just got to understand how this was drawn. It's not drawn by any biases or anything. I just take a line from the lows, right? And I run it to the highs. And that's basically it. And then I just run it down all the way across price. Now it shows much better on the weekly. As you can see, the touches look better right here. You got nice support, nice resistance, swing attempt to go higher. That doesn't. And what I was looking for, if they could break out, is a big pop, right? Just like all these other ones are doing. So probably come up and hit right around here or right around here. One of these two zones. So probably here first. And this is the 36K zone I was telling you guys about. Boom, pop, hit the 36, and then ABC down, and then break out for the high, right? And that ABC just fills the wick right here on this weekly. So right now, what are we doing here? What are we doing right here?
It's a bear flag, so we're just hitting the bottom of the bear flag.
Hitting the bottom of the bear flag, exactly. So this is a breakdown pattern, but nothing is confirmed yet. And I think until something gets confirmed from the bear flag breakdown, I would just not worry too much about this or that, up or down. Just know that as long as the bear flag holds, you're going up. Bear flag breaks, what are you doing? You're going down.
I guess we're going down.
Yep.
Retest that.
You're gonna retest. Yeah, you're gonna retest some lows. So I'd say like right around here. And if you look here too, this wick matches right up with the middle of the channel, right? You come right into that 20 to 19, 18K, swing off of that, and then start building. That would give you momentum to break through what right now is resistance, right? So support to resistance. And once we can see that swing, this could very easily create the bottom, right? And that would be your deviation from price, right? You got strong support in the zone. You got your wick right there that pretty much retested the zone. You had price move too quickly out of the zone. So now because it moved too quickly out, you get one more push and then you get a retrace ABC to that low again to recapture liquidity that they left behind here. Liquidity was left behind on that wick. So they'll want to come back, grab that liquidity, and then push price up. And this was on the inverse head and shoulders. Oh, yeah, for sure, Cheryl. 100%. 100%. Yeah, and happy Mother's Day to anybody who's a mom. And even if you're not a mom, happy Mother's Day. Yeah, that the expectation here is I'd say if you break down below 25K on a weekly candle, body, not wick, body, you're looking to really come down. You're capitulated at that point. That means that this whole move was an ABC move, ABC, and ABC results in a wave move. So wave move is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it can end pretty low, right? So we don't want to see a wave move. We want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse move high into an ABC low, right? And that ABC low should land right in here around the 20K zone. That's what I'd be looking for. So confirmation right now, holding body candle below 25K, going down. Body candle holds above 26K, it's going to impulse up one more time, up to around 36, 37K, maybe 35. But that gives you a rough average range. I know that's 3 numbers, but I like to look at ranges. And usually if I'm looking to take profit, say I'm in a long, I would want to take profit at the lower end of the range, not the higher end of the range, because you're being too greedy. If you're going at the higher end of the range, you'll probably get scalped out and you probably won't get your position. Because I had a lot of people over here telling me how if it gets below 27, it's going to go all the way to 25. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. Like it might reverse off of 25.8 because there's support at 25.8. And boom, lo and behold, what did it do? hit 25.8 on the nose, 25.71, hold back off of it, holding support above. Now, where did I get the 25.8 zone from? The channel. There's no support there. I don't see any support there. Might be some over here. Let's see. Oh, yep, right here. 25.885, I guess. So there is support over there, but I just pulled it off the channel because I was expecting they're going to keep this impulse going. It's going to be impulse, consolidate, impulse, consolidate, impulse. See how that works? And then consolidate. It said this will be the consolidation high. And then pull back. Everybody thinks it's going to come back up. It's actually going to reverse down even further. Retest, down, retest, down, right? Still ends up in the same zone. All right. Any other questions?
Hey, well, what do you think
Thank you
about
so
Rumble
much.
stock?
I mean, it's consolidating. It's not really doing anything. Last time I looked at it, it's really not doing much at all. As most low caps are right now. There's not a lot of interest right now for low caps. You could buy them, right? You could buy them, but like there's just not interest there for them right now. Strong uptrend, solid top, could break through, right? Could break through. But I don't take breakout plays, not in a market like this. I take breakdown plays, but I don't take breakout plays. Yeah, it's at the high end of the range. That's basically it. Like it's not a buy for me. When I say high, 1, 2, 3 retests, right? High end of the range.
So that you just look at it strictly off technical analysis. You don't see it just pumping just due to popularity.
Nope.
All chart.
All charts. Don't matter if it's Facebook. Doesn't matter if it's Rumble. Like I don't care about any of the. We'll say narratives that people think pushes price. I think price pushes price. If the interest is there, the price will prove it, right? The investors will be there if the interest is there.
So the chart will reflect the interest?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, if you're reading into sentiment from like things that you read or articles that you read or things that you may see online, you're probably just reading a small portion of what people actually feel, because if they actually feel bullish on it, it'll show in the money. Make sense?
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. All right. I think it was L. Did you have something? Or is it Erica?
No, I'm good. I just want to say thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. That was good too.
100%. All right. I did record this, so I will throw it up shortly. I'll throw it on there. It'll probably take a couple hours to upload on YouTube, and then I will share that with all of you.
Thanks, Will.
No problem.
Appreciate it, man.
All right. I'll see you guys.
Appreciate you, Will.
Appreciate
no
you,
problem.
man.
For sure.